Okay, y'all. Y'all already know today is scary video day. Okay, it's Tuesday. Well, it's technically Wednesday. But we gonna still pretend it's Tuesday, duh. It's like 12 some in the morning. We still gonna act like, it's Tuesday. But for today's scary video day, y'all, we got an hour long what is it like scary? They telling like scary story times, y'all, about the Appalachian Mountains. Okay, I'm not even gonna hold y'all too long. I'm not gonna hold y'all too long. Let's go ahead and get into the video. Okay.
Today, I'm going to talk about my experience when I was a kid living in Jasper, Georgia, with Appalachian feral people. Notice
I need to go get some lotion, y'all. Mind y'all business, okay? I be washing my hands a lot because there be a lot of diaper changes around here. So they be, yeah, ending up ashy sometimes. The lotion, the lotion don't be standing a chance. Mind y'all business. Be nice. Be nice, okay?
how I said Appalachian and not Appalachian because y'all got mad at me in my last post. I don't
I
really
had to
think it
put it on
matters
after
how you
this
say the
video.
name. Potato, potato, tomato, tomato type shit. When you live somewhere, you don't refer to it as, oh yeah, I live in Appalachia. You just say, I live in Jasper. I never heard people refer to the place I grew up as Appalachia until I moved away and got on TikTok and saw people who didn't grow up there talking about it. But anyways, I grew up on this road called Yellow Creek Road. It's the same road that Gibbs Gardens is on. Still never been to Gibbs Gardens, even though I grew up walking distance from there. I think I'll go this summer. But basically, I lived in a trailer park type situation, kind of like off the main road. So when you're on Yellow Creek, you go down this big winding road, and then on that road, there's a neighborhood with trailers. And it's not your stereotypical, like, trailer park. It's like each person has about 4 to 5 acres of land trailer park, so they're very spaced out. It's just a big ass neighborhood where people own a lot of land. There wasn't really street lights or anything like that on my road. It was very dark. So at nighttime, like, the only light in my yard was my front porch light, but facing the back of our house was just woods. We didn't have any lights back there. It was just pitch black, dark. Okay, so basically, I have 2 brothers that live with me in this trailer and my mom. And so one day, me and my older brother were home alone, and we're just like chilling in his room watching YouTube videos. And I hear something on the back of our trailer, like tapping on the window of the room we're in. And it was loud. It was like a bang situation. But obviously, like, my brother and I are home alone. I was in middle school at this point. I don't remember what grade I was in. I was probably in like 7th grade or something. And he was in high school. So we were both young. And so this banging on the back of our trailer kept happening. And, like, it was definitely a person. There's no way it could have been an animal, because it sounded like someone was knocking, like, trying to scare us. And at first we thought it was like a joke, like maybe our younger brother and our mom had gotten home and they were just trying to fuck with us. So I ran to the front of my house and I looked out the window to see if anyone was in the driveway, and there was nobody
Oh, I thought she was gonna say she opened the front door. Girl, okay.
there. And that's when I was like, oh shit, that's not mom. So we ran to the doors and locked them, and we shut all the blinds.
The doors wasn't already locked. What is with people chilling in the house, and some people even go to bed, y'all, with their doors unlocked? Look, we live on a military base, and I say all the time, these people be having a false sense of security. I don't care how good the neighborhoods are or whatever. People will leave their garages open, their doors unlocked, all type of stuff. That's y'all. No.
And we just waited till my mom got home, and we told her what happened, and she was like, what the fuck, that's weird. Fast forward a couple weeks, I'm in the car with my mom. She just like wanted to drive to the gas station. It was nighttime, and yeah, I guess she was buying cigarettes or something. But
Okay,
so
come
we
on.
drive to the gas station, and I'm sitting in the passenger seat, and my mom gets out, and she goes inside and buys whatever she's buying. She comes back out to the pump, and this old man is just like sitting there at the gas station. He has a big ass beard, and I remember he was wearing overalls with like no shirt on underneath, so like you could see his nipples and stuff. So this dude looks at my mom and he says something to her, and she doesn't quite catch it. And so she's like, "Excuse me?" And then the guy's like, "Y'all live over there off Yellow Creek." And my mom was like, "Yeah, like, do you live in our neighborhood? Is that how you know us?" And then he literally looks at her and he's like, "I watch y'all sometimes." And at this point, like, I'm kind of hearing this conversation because the windows are down, and I kind of like look and I'm like, "What the fuck?" And my mom looks at me and her eyes get big. And he basically explains how he sits on our property in the dark and watches us through the windows. And my mom was like, "What the fuck?" And so she immediately like turns away from him and gets in the car and locks the doors, and we just drive home. And then as soon as we pull out of the gas station parking lot, my mom's like, "What the fuck was that?" And so I start talking to her and I'm like, "Do you think that was whoever the fuck was banging on
Right.
our house a couple weeks ago?" But yeah, after that, we kept our blinds closed. That dude was fucking weird looking. He barely had any teeth. He was
I ain't gonna lie, I assume so. I kind of already pictured him looking crazy in my head. Why would he even admit that? Like, why? I mean, just aside from the fact altogether, anyways, why are you in on somebody's property watching? I mean, clearly, like, we already know the answer. Like, you clearly crazy. Like, look, y'all, that's why I be saying you gotta have some protection. People be weird. It's a lot of weirdos out here. It is scary. It is scary.
very, very country, very like strong Appalachian dialect. So he could have been a feral person. He could have just been a creep. But regardless, the whole time we lived at this place, which was from when I was in fourth grade until after I graduated high school, really weird shit like that would happen. And I have a lot more weird stories about people in this area. So let me know what you think. If you think it's just a creepy dude, or if you think it could have been a feral person. Because what the fuck is this dude doing in our lawn in the middle of the woods at nighttime? But yeah, thanks for watching, y'all. Have a good day.
Okay, not gonna lie. One, I feel like the story was kind of dragging just a little bit. Like it was just taking a little too long. It was like a lot of pauses. And trust me, I get it. You know, me, y'all know I be yapping it up. I be giving y'all little side missions, little filler stories that I feel like is helping encompass the whole thing. And it's probably information you don't need. But for me, I be feeling like it's extra information that you need. So some of y'all probably watching this like, girl, I know you ain't talking to you. Be taking forever to get to the point. Look, okay, I can't help it. But yeah, it's like it was just taking just a little too long. And then too, what I'm starting to notice is from the last video we did about the Appalachian Mountains and to this one, like I said, usually when I listen to these like little, and I watch these little like scary little story times while I'm like doing stuff around the house, typically like cleaning or whatever. Um, they usually are talking about, which I thought this one was gonna be more so on like maybe the cryptids and stuff. I don't know though. It might talk about that because, like I said, when I react to these videos, I don't. It be my first time watching it when I come and watch it with y'all. But anyways, it seemed like though the common theme is though you know what I'm saying, is more so of a thing where it's just a lot of weird people hanging around the mountains. What she say, little pharaoh people or some people on the trails getting snatched up. They ruling it as a homicide. It's just like it's more so the humans that you have to fear, you know, rather than these cryptids that people, are saying that's supposed to be out there too. But come on.
Alright, if you're a fan of the paranormal, then you might want to buckle up for this one. Because this one happened when I very first moved down to the Appalachian Mountains. When I first moved there, I was very aware that my uncle had a pain pill problem, so it was really like normal for him to just walk off into the woods by himself and we just kind of let him do his thing. One night I got curious, okay, so I followed him and I saw that he kept going into this shed, this old shed that was in the back of our property. I didn't really think anything of it because I kind of just thought he was handling his problem, doing his thing in that shed just to have his privacy. Until I realized that this started happening every night. About 1 month after I moved there, I ended up going to my mom and I told her about it. And my mom was like, "What are you talking about? Your uncle has been clean off of that for about 90 days. Obviously after that, I started to get curious and I started following him to the shed every single night. One night he went into the shed and I sat back in the woods and kind of was a little creepy, but I spied on him because I wanted to see what he was doing. It was really strange. He ended up going into this shed and all I would see from the woods is the light inside the window just turn on and off, on and off. Just over and over again for literally like...
Yeah, girl, you braver than me. I'm not following my uncle. I'd be like, Mama, well, you might need to go check on him because I don't think he might not be clean because I keep seeing him going to the shed. I'm scary. Y'all already know. I'm scary. I'm not going, no. I'm not going to go creep and spy on my uncle. No. Mama, you might want to go check on your brother.
About an hour. Mind you, he would do this every night for about 3 nights after that. And then one night he ended up coming home around like 1 in the morning and he was just like covered in scratches. And I figured that it was just him coming home and like walking through all the briar or something. So I thought that's what gave him all the scratches. So the next day I got really curious and I went to the shed myself to see what was going on. And when I opened the door, there was literally nothing inside this shed. Nothing, like not a desk that he was sitting at or anything. It was just an empty shed with a light. So I went back to the house and I said something to my mom. I was like, Mom, he's been going in this shed every single night. Lightning, whoa. He's been going into the shed every single night and like turning the lights on and off, but he's not doing anything. There's nothing in there. And then my mom started to tell me how our property, ooh, lightning. Then my mom started to tell me how our property was like, haunted or whatever. And then she took me to someplace interesting. On that same trail
Oh my God, they always want to tell you about some shit that run in the family after you witness the hauntings or some weird start going on. Like, why you ain't been told me this? Get me from around here. I'm scared. What we talking about? I'm through. I'm done. They always be the common theme in the families. Like, why y'all doing that? I guess I get it though. You don't be wanting to scare the kid. Maybe they be like, you know what I'm saying? You be waiting, like maybe let's wait and see if they notice anything. If not, we not gonna say nothing because we don't want to scare them. I get it.
That leads to that shed. She brought me halfway there and about 20 feet or so off the trail, she showed me a burial site. And it was a pile of rocks. We found out that our property in Franklin, North Carolina, had a burial site of an old Indian chief. Now, mind you, I don't know if it had anything to do with my uncle or like a possession and sound cheesy or whatever, but I'm telling you, something wasn't right. And if you have any experience with something like this, leave it down in the comments because I would love to read it. So y'all know how you hear those scary camping experiences out in the Appalachia? Because I know I tell a lot of paranormal and like true crime stories, but I keep forgetting.
Dang, I wonder if I'm gonna get copyrighted for this because the last couple videos I did, I've been getting copyrighted, especially for the music. I don't know. Maybe I will, whatever. We here now.
I have a lot of scary camping stories too that are very unexplained. The story takes place back in my early 20s when me and a few of my friends went camping down in the Appalachia in North Carolina. And our first mistake was we didn't go to a campground. We actually decided to go offbeat into the woods and do our own thing because, 20s. At that time in my life, I didn't really believe in Bigfoot or skinwalkers or anything like that. I always kind of believed that was all just silly little folklore. And I'll admit, even till this day, I definitely have some trouble with it. But this story definitely is very unexplained. I remember after we all got done setting up our tents, we had all of our, we had our beer, we had our campfire and everything going, cooking dinner over the fire. And as I've told you before, me and the friends that I had, we all like to spook each other out. After hearing a few noises here and there, we all kind of started to realize that this wasn't us spooking each other out. And it was no longer us thinking it was in our heads. Remember, the first sign of all of us getting scared was we kept hearing these huge branches break around us. At first we thought maybe it was deer or like some kind of heavy animal, but then we realized no deer was going to be able to break the sound of these branches. You can tell that they were big branches. Now at first we're all kind of thinking to ourselves like, ooh, that's spooky, right? Until we started hearing these like scratching sounds, like literally like on the trees though, all around us. We didn't hear any tapping sounds like they say like about Bigfoot and all that stuff, but those scratching noises continued, and they continued to circle around our camp. You know something's wrong when all the grown men that you're with decide they're all scared and they want to go inside the tent and put the fire out. But at the same time, we were all always explorers and into this stuff, so we decided to stay outside and listen more. Mind you, we are a few miles into the woods. We know for a fact that we were not surrounded by any other people unless it was possibly homeless people camping out there, but we're pretty sure it wasn't that. But I can definitely tell you, it definitely started to freak us out thinking that it was people once we started hearing whispering. And the crazy thing is the whispering, just like the scratches, started in one area and then it started to circle around our camp. And it didn't sound like just one person whispering walking around our camp. It sounded like we were hearing whispering from every single angle of the woods. And then eventually this whispering started turning into actual voices. Like it sounded like people were literally around us, but we had flashlights and we were shining in the woods and we couldn't see a damn thing. That was probably the first time I've ever seen my one buddy Leo get so scared that he threw a bucket of water on the fire to drown out any noise or any appearance that we had, and he jumped inside that tent. That was probably the first time that all of us ever got so scared that we jumped inside the tent as if the tent was gonna protect us, but you get the point. We needed to be inside. Not a single one of us got a drop of sleep that night, and I don't know, I still have no idea what it was until this day. But y'all tell me what you think down in the comments, and if you had any scary Appalachian stories yourself, put them down in the comments. I would love to read them, and follow for more creepy stories in my life.
No, thank you. I'm not jumping in the tent. My friends be mad at me. Get y'all in the car. We leaving. I don't care. Damn, we gotta stay here though. Like we just gonna camp out. We gotta stick it. No, we don't. I'm leaving, and y'all better come on. Or I'm just gonna have to send somebody back to go get you. I'm not playing with y'all. Like, no, see, this why you just certain friend groups just not gonna mesh. I need to be with the people that's gonna be ready to be out of here. They wouldn't even made it to start like breathing heavy. What they say, whispering. We wouldn't even made it to the whispering part. As soon as I heard them branches cracking, I'm leaving. I don't care. I'm not investigating. This ain't Scooby-Doo in the game. What we talking about? Let's go.
I went hiking on the Appalachian Trail by myself this weekend as like one of the first like winter hikes that I was gonna do for the year, right? And I'm walking, and then I come across this clearing, and it's like completely clear. Like nobody touched the snow, not even animals, nothing, until I get to this one section, and that's when I start to see like footprints that just kind of appeared out of nowhere. And hold on, I gotta situate. So I come to this clearing, right, and I start to see like footprints that like appeared to appear out of nowhere, like they just appeared there. Where did they come from? Where did they go? Where did they come from? Cotton Eye Joe. Fuck you. Okay. I'm trying to add humor to this situation because, like, honestly, I cannot tell for the life of me if I was hallucinating or what the fuck even happened. I don't know if I, like, intertwined with, like, some kind of time jump or, like, different dimension. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think though, okay? So I'm walking and I see these footprints, and I love to take pictures and I love to make videos and I love to like just have my phone out all the time, right? So I have my phone out and I go to take a picture of these footprints in the snow. So pretty, like random footprints in the middle of an untouched patch of snow, like an untouched field of snow, right? Like you wouldn't want to take a picture of that? Am I weird? Okay, back it up, because that's not the weird part. The weird part is that the fucking footprints were not showing up on my camera, but I could see them with my own eyes, okay? This is leading up to the next crazy fucking thing that I saw, okay? This is like the most unexplainable thing. I don't even know what, I don't know. I don't fucking know. This is where I'm like, was I hallucinating? But like, how could I have been hallucinating? It wasn't even that cold, you know? Okay, I'm rambling because I'm like, yo, what? Whatever, I keep going. I'm walking further down wherever. And then I come across this man, okay? Like off in the distance, just standing there, back turned towards me, head turns away from me, like everything, no, he's not looking in my direction. And he's pretty far away, so I can't see him. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna use my phone and like zoom in a little bit and see where. Sorry, that freaked me the fuck out. There was like something that like popped up back here. I don't know. So I'm zooming in to see what the fuck this guy is up to. But my phone camera does not see what I see. My phone camera does not see the man standing there.
Girl, we need a new phone.
Like, what do you mean? I'm sorry, what? So I put my phone down and I look and he's there. I put my phone back up. He's gone. I take my phone down. He's there. I pick my phone up. He's gone. Do you want?
Alright, now look, this on some like some out of a scary movie scene when they keep doing that, then all of a sudden that a man standing right in front of you. I don't know. I don't know. Tell me if y'all think this story true. I don't know. It might be. It might be. Maybe I be finding it hard to believe people be standing there that long in it because, like I said, I'm scary. And me personally, like just the footprints not showing up on my camera alone. Shit, I gotta turn around. I gotta run home because it's obviously some weird stuff going on out here. I'm telling you, I wouldn't even made it to the man. No.
Understand the cycle that kept going on back and forth. And motherfucker was just standing there with his back turned. I know I probably shouldn't have. I probably should have just turned around and walked away. But I asked, like, hey, you need some help?
Oh,
Hey, are you okay? That's when I see him start to turn around. But it's not his whole body turning around, right? It's just his head slowly turning towards me. Buddy, that was enough for me. That was enough for me. Even if none of that creepy shit happened before that, there's a man that just noticed you all alone out in the woods. You're gone. We gotta get out of here. Skedaddle. But honestly, I don't even have an answer as to who that was, what that was, or what happened because I got the fuck out of there. But basically, my phone camera was not picking up what I was seeing. And I want to know if that's happened to anybody else because that's never in my life happened to me before, ever. I have an iPhone fucking 17 Pro Max. I'm pretty sure there's nothing fucking faulty about this.
I'm scary. Look, y'all think I'm joking. I'm scary for real. I don't know what it is. I love watching this scary stuff. I know what it is, but like, I don't like having all that space behind me, y'all. When I be watching scary stuff, I be scared. But I'll be so invested in listening and watching this scary stuff. I don't know. Like, but my bad. Come on.
Okay? I don't know. It's freaked me out to the point where I can't stop thinking about it. So let me know if you guys have experienced anything similar.
It's Appalachian spooky story.
I don't really believe in that one because I don't know. Like, I don't know. I just, like I say, it can be true, but something about them just kind of gave me like, I don't know. She might have just made that up on the spot. On some like she just trying to have I don't know a little fake story time for TikTok or whatever, hoping maybe it go viral or something. But I don't understand the part like I don't know. We all have done some like duh stuff, but like I don't know, man. Come on, especially as like a woman. I'm not about to call out for no random man that I see out in the woods after I just saw footprints in the snow that's not appearing on my camera, and then I see a random man standing there with his back turned and he ain't doing that, he just standing there. I'm not about to yell out and say, hey, you need help, man. I'm assuming a grown man. Mo, dang, snake, get on my nerves. Assuming a grown man, and he fine, he don't need my help. No, like, and then you yell out for the man to say, hey, do you need help? And then he finally starts to turn around or whatever, whether it was creepy or not. And now you want to run. You what? You yelled out for him? Like, what did you expect? I don't know about that one. I don't know about that story. If I believe that, this never get on my nerves. My bad.
Time, y'all, and this story is very different than my others, which is exactly why I chose it, and I want to know what you all think about it. This story comes from one of my followers named Katie. It is pretty terrifying. If you are scared easily and you're watching this at night, I would just save it and wait until the morning. Katie said she grew up in the Midwest, but when she was in 7th grade, her family moved to Western North Carolina. It was her dad, her mom, her sister, and her. Katie said that they moved into this very old farmhouse, and even though it was an older farmhouse, it was quite big. And she said that they had a lot of woods back on the property. There was some field areas where there was some farmland, things like that. But directly
Where's
from
it?
her,
Where's it? Where you at? Cause you gonna get on my nerves. Where? Oh my God. This thing that got in here and it's literally like all up in my space. It's because I got this ring light on right here. And then we got the porch light on. I know they be waiting at the door as soon as you open the door. Where'd it go? Oh my gosh. It is literally about to irritate me. And now I'm about to be over here doing this the whole time. Hopefully not. I can't look. These bugs be getting on my nerves. They be coming out, stalking, and being irritating during the summer. Look, I done already been bit by a mosquito. I don't know if y'all can see, but like my arm itching. I was outside with the kids today, as always, as usual, of course. And I done got ate up by some more mosquitoes, some more. Jesus.
room, because she was on the
It's
second
gone. Where'd
story,
it go?
she had a window and she could see out into the back of the woods. Just a few feet
Oh,
into the woods, there was an old shed, and she could see the shed from her bedroom window. She said the shed always kind of
let
creeped
me
her
go
out a
to
little
it.
bit because it was old, it was back in the woods, and just gave her weird feelings. But she noticed almost every evening her dad would go out into the shed. Sometimes he would only be out there for a few minutes, and then sometimes he would be in this shed for like hours and had no idea what he was doing. She said occasionally she would look out her window and would see lights on in the shed, and so she knew her dad was in there. One morning she looked out her window and there was a big padlock that had been added on to the shed. She thought this was really
Oh
odd, so she
no.
asked her dad about it, and her dad basically told her and her sister that he put the padlock on there to keep people from breaking in because he had some tools that were stolen out of the shed. Then, as he was going to leave, he looked back at her and her sister and was like, "Yeah, I don't ever want you all going near that shed." They're like, "Why? What's up with the shed?" And he was like, "Don't ask questions. I'm your dad. Just listen to me. I don't want you all near the shed." Here's where things get really odd though. She said one evening she saw her dad go down to the shed. That was pretty normal. She goes to bed, but in the middle of the night, she wakes up because she hears her mom screaming her dad's name. She wakes up and she's like, "Mom, what is going on?" And she's like, "I can't find your dad. He never came back from the shed." Mom was like, "I'm gonna go check the shed. You girls just stay in here and I will be right back." Then, just a matter of
Go
minutes, her
back
mom
into
comes
it.
running back through the door and calls an ambulance because she had found her husband slumped over in the shed. While they're waiting on the ambulance, all three of them run out to the shed and they're with the dad while he is just like slumped over. He is alive, but he's just not acting right. The ambulance gets there and they say only one person can ride in the ambulance with the dad. So the wife went and she told the daughters just to wait at the house and to take the day off school. Guys, this is so weird. After they leave to go to the hospital, the two girls stay and they're like looking in the shed and there's nothing in there. You know how she said she always saw a light on in the shed? There was.
Ain't that what the first girl just said? Didn't wait a minute. I, did she say at the beginning of her TikTok this was a story that she is reading off that somebody sent to her? If I remember correctly, I can't remember because I'm like, look, I didn't went crazy over that dang net. It had me. Ooh, ooh. Now I'm finna. Ooh, my skin finna be irritated. Look, I already need to go put some damn lotion on my hands, but I don't want to get up and just walk off from the street real quick to go do that and leave y'all. But anyways, my bad. Yeah. So yeah, this sounds like the same story. What's going on here?
No electricity in the shed. There was no lanterns, no electricity. It said hanging on the walls, there was like bird feathers and some rabbit feet. And there was like a small work desk with a few carving knives and a notebook. She said when she opened up the notebook, she saw her father's handwriting in there, but then on other pages, the handwriting was completely different. And it was all just like mumbled jargon that she couldn't understand. And then written in the floorboards were like carvings of different symbols. Some of them looked very fresh, some of them looked super, super old. Her and her sister were super freaked out, felt very unsettled, and just went back into the house. Her dad was eventually discharged from the hospital and was diagnosed with having a stroke. So he came home, he had to walk with a cane, but ultimately was okay. She told her mom about what she found in the shed, so the mom confronted the dad. Apparently, the dad just wouldn't talk about it. He just shut down, would not talk about what was in the shed. She said she started to hear her parents fighting a lot, like late at night. The one thing that her dad was always adamant about was that he wanted to continue to go down to the shed, even with his cane, even with like his disability from having the stroke. He was like adamant in the evenings that he still wanted to go out to the shed, and that was the main source of arguments from her parents. Okay, but then it gets even more bizarre. Eventually, months and months and months later, her dad got pneumonia. He was already declining from his stroke. He
Mm.
ended up passing away. After her dad's passing, Katie, her mom, and her sister ended up moving to a smaller home in the city, but she always wondered about that shed, like she couldn't stop thinking about it. Katie and her sister decided to do some research on the home. Turns out this home had had multiple owners over the last 20 years. Like almost every year, the house was put up for sale and bought by someone else. She tried
Dang.
to contact a couple of the
You
previous
know what's
owners
so
just.
crazy about that? Y'all scare me though with these homes with all of this, these seem like farmland homes with all of this space, and then it's always these creepy stories like haunting the homes, either haunted or something out in the woods. Because I want, me and my family, I've always wanted to, like, buy a nice size home with a lot of land, farmland to be able to learn how to farm. I said this before, you guys, y'all already know that, but learn how to get back to, what I'm saying, learning how to farm, be self sufficient and stuff like that, and teaching our kids and stuff too. But clearly, I'm gonna be scared as hell while I'm doing it because there's a lot of creepy going on the farmlands. Like, I don't know. And I be looking at stuff like that. When you be looking at homes for sale, like on Zillow, Realtor, and stuff like that, it's so crazy because, like, when I be looking at everything. And one of the things I definitely be paying attention to is how, like, often the home has been sold. And it's been a couple times that I've seen homes that's been sold. Like she said, like, it's like every year they're selling this home. And I instantly like, oh no, don't want that. I be looking at how old the home is. I don't want a new build because they falling apart. But then I be also like leery about getting a home that's too old. Because they be like, oh, I know you got somebody's on the land. Oh no. I mean, everything, what I'm saying, everywhere around the world, everything old as hell. But I'm just saying, like, I be like, oh no. Like the home is too old. I don't be wanting it too old either. And then, like I said, and then seeing if the home is continuously being sold like every year, I instantly be like, oh yeah, this home got to be haunted. Nope, it got to be haunted because why y'all keep selling it every year?
To like get more information about why they sold the home, anything odd that happened, whatever. And nobody would talk to her. Everyone, as soon as she started asking, just shut down and refused to speak to her. Except for one woman who said that her husband had also suffered a stroke in the shed. She said to this day
Damn.
she has not returned to the property. She does not intend to, but she knows that there is something evil inside of that shed. What do you all think happened here? Let me know what you think in the comments, and if you want more spooky stories, then just follow along. Part 1 of Where the Hell Did I Move? Haunted historical house in Appalachia built in the 1800s that used to be a funeral home and allegedly a Civil War hospital addition.
See, no, I can't live nowhere like that. I need to know the history of the home. This cannot. I can't. We can't. Me and my family can't live here. No.
Oh yeah, and the only neighbors were not one but two huge cemeteries, and the backyard was surrounded by the woods. Lived there for nearly 4 years. I do not live there anymore. We all experienced a lot of creepy things while living there, so this is going to be like a really long story time. I take multiple parts, and I have told these stories on here before, not all of them, but some of them, but I got scared and I took them all down. Or when I was talking about it online, it was like it got mad or something. I don't know, but things escalated and got so much worse, so I just took the videos down. I'd like for y'all to fully understand the creepiness and all the context behind the story.
So you finna tell the stories again? Oh, now it's finna be like, oh, you think fat meat not greasy, huh? And it's really about to turn up on you. Okay, we here now.
I need to go back to the very beginning. Let's go back to before I ever moved in. I was living in an apartment with just me and my 2 kids. The reason I was even looking for a house to move into was because a neighbor of mine came to me and brought it to my attention that I had a peeping Tom looking in my back window every single night. It ended up being like a stalker situation where they tried to gain access to my home on several different occasions. I filed a police report and started looking for a new house. Keep in mind that I had a stalker. It'll be important later on in the story. We're looking for a house for like a year. Houses are hard to come by in Appalachia. In my area, all the houses are already lived in, and when one comes available, it's rented within 5 minutes. I heard there was an old historical house
But
for
why? Because the way y'all making it sound is like y'all got cryptids up there. Y'all got the feral people in the woods. The homes, the land, hell. If it ain't the cryptids, it's the ghosts. It's haunted. So how is it that people are really, what I'm saying, going out of their way to hurry up and rent out the homes or buy up the homes? I don't know.
rent for only $600 a month. It's a pretty well-known house in our town. Like pretty much everybody knows what house this is. This house is huge and it's beautiful and it's creepy and eerie and all the things. $600 was only $40 more a month than I was paying for my apartment. And like I said, this house was huge. It just fell in my lap. It seemed like it was meant to be, and it was a steal. So I was like, of course, I'm going to call these people and check it out. It's one of the biggest homes in my small town and probably one of the oldest that's still lived in. Like I said, everyone in my town knows this house. It sits up on this big hill across from this huge graveyard, and there's another.
Hold on, how long ago was this? $600 a month? It couldn't have been in today's economy. I mean, hell, when was it? Like, because it don't seem like it was that long ago either. All I know is one thing I've learned in my adulthood, when they say if it's too good to be true, it usually is.
Graveyard to the left of it.
And then there's just woods surrounding the backyard. It's on like the outskirts of town, but it still had a rural feel to it. The Kentucky River was right down behind it through the woods. I called the landlord. They said that the house needed some work. They said if I was willing to look past that and if I wanted to do some of the work myself, they would knock it off the rent every month. There were several red flags right off the bat that I should not have ignored, but I was desperate and determined to make it work. First walked in, I could tell that it needed some cleaning and a fresh coat of paint on the walls. First 3 rooms I saw were painted like this pretty yellow color, and the rest of the rooms downstairs were all painted different colors, but some of them were only like halfway painted, like somebody had started painting them and then stopped halfway through. The walls were like 2 different colors in some rooms, blue and white. They told me they were okay with me painting it, but they just didn't want me to paint it black or anything, and I thought that was kind of weird, but I didn't really know what they meant by that until we made our way upstairs. I asked how many bedrooms it was, and they told me that there were 3 bedrooms downstairs if you used the dining room as a bedroom, which some of the tenants had done before. And he went on to say that there were 3 more bedrooms upstairs, but most people usually just kept the upstairs closed off. I figured, what's the use in only using half of the house, and I wanted to have a dining room. I asked if we could go upstairs and take a look around. So we go upstairs, and the upstairs is made like a circle house, you know, like it's all intertwined and connected. First red flag, houses with that type of layout are like known for having a lot of spiritual activity trapped inside. I didn't know that at the time though. Like I said, there were 3 bedrooms upstairs.
So homes with, what she said, it's like connected upstairs, like it's round. Is supposed to have a lot of spiritual activity. Did I hear that right? I'm trying to make sure, let me know some.
Each had their own
Noted.
huge closets, and there was a big master bathroom. Second red flag. When we get to the middle bedroom upstairs, I finally realized why he had asked me not to paint anything black. This entire room was painted solid black, and it looked like it had been like spray painted or something. The walls, the doors, the trim, everything was just
No.
pitch black, the darkest black color I've ever seen. I'm not gonna lie, it gave off like the creepiest vibes. The first thing I ever did was paint that room. I don't know why I didn't take any pictures of it beforehand. I felt like almost like embarrassed about that room in a way. I don't know. Anyways, so that's the first thing I did. I painted that room. I wish I had it before to show y'all because it was so fucking creepy. The landlord kind of laughed and said he wasn't sure what had happened in there. And I was like, oh, okay. We make our way back downstairs to the sunroom, which was like my favorite part of the house, honestly. Come to find out that is most likely where they stored the bodies when it was a funeral home. Anyways, it was beautiful. It was lined with windows. The walls were kind of destroyed and needed a lot of TLC. I was willing to put in the work. I seen the potential. I was so excited. There was this beautiful grand piano in there, and I was like, hey, can I have the piano? Does it come with the house? And he was like, yeah, as long as you take it with you when you leave. I was like, okay, this is like all too good to be true. What the heck? What could go wrong? Third red flag. The husband asks me, are you scared of ghosts? And I thought to myself, what a strange question. But he was smiling and laughing, so I laughed and I said, no, why? Side note, I have always been absolutely terrified of paranormal things. I've experienced things my entire life, but
Oh, girl, why you lie? Oh, it's getting cold in here. Girl, why you lie? I would have been like, yes, it's ghosts in here. Don't worry about it, bye. I mean, y'all know I would have left already, though. Like, I wouldn't even made it that far. Dark, a whole room painted black. No, first of all, she said that it looked like some of the rooms was like halfway painted. It wasn't finished. Then they had a whole bunch of different colors going on. Then, no.
Like I said, I was determined and desperate. He laughed and said, well, good, because everybody that moves in here moves out because they say that it's haunted. He said he couldn't keep a tenant because of it and for other reasons, like people not paying their rent and just moving out. Like I said, he was laughing and he said that he didn't believe in that kind of stuff and he'd been there 100 times by himself and nothing had ever happened to him. He went on to tell me that the cabinets in the kitchen had been nailed shut by a previous tenant because they would slam all the time by themselves, especially at night. I decided to look past all of this and still agree to moving in. It really needed to be cleaned and it needed some work done to it, mostly just painting. So the first month or two after I had signed the lease, I would go there by myself almost every single day and either clean the place or paint it or just try to fix it up in some way. I feel kind of like out of breath even talking about it, but I always felt like there was somebody behind me or like I was just always being watched.
Girl, don't say that. Don't say now. I'm about to. Now, look, now she got me looking behind me. Okay. I'm about to move my desk and like, I don't know, sit up against the wall. So why the hell would she say that? I just got to do one more double take. That's it. I just had to check.
Like, you know, the sense or the feeling that something's staring at you. Tried to ignore it, but it was overwhelming at times, to say the least. As soon as people started hearing that I was moving in there, they was telling me stories because, like I said, a lot of people have lived here in the past. I had 7 or 8 different people tell me that they had experienced or knew somebody that experienced something creepy in this house and that it was 100% haunted. And then I started hearing all the backstories behind it. People were telling me it used to be allegedly a Civil War hospital. I didn't find out until later that it used to be a funeral home. We'll get there eventually. I'm trying to keep the story in like the order that things happened. Nothing too weird happened before I actually moved in, other than like the sense of feeling like I was never alone and like I was being stared at and things like that. There's a basement. Of course there was a basement, and there was an attic space. I never went in either. Too scared to go like check out the basement, and so my dad went down there for me, and he said that there was a 10-foot snakeskin coming up the stairs. I have a video of that somewhere. I will try to find it. Basement was dirt floor, and there were like holes to the outside, you know, so I guess it could freely come in and out as it wanted to, and other things as well. It was full of like cave crickets, and it was just like a really cold, dark, scary place. I found the lease in like October, and I worked on it for a few months, so I think we moved in like the day before Christmas or something like that. Maybe a few days before Christmas. I'm not really sure. I can't remember. It didn't take long before like the paranormal creepy things started happening. The first like weird creepy thing that happened was probably about a month after we started staying there. My boyfriend would spend the night sometimes, but he had his own house, but he did have a key to my place. This particular night we were arguing. Like I don't even know what we were fighting about, but I do know that like we were mad about something. So I wasn't texting him back, and I thought for sure that he was just going to stay home that night. About 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning probably. Didn't check my phone to see what time it was. I was in bed asleep, and I am a really light sleeper. Woke up to the sound of my back door opening, and so I hear the back door open, and automatically I'm like alert, and I'm like, okay, somebody's here. So I hear footsteps, I hear keys get thrown onto the table, which is normally what my boyfriend would do when he came in. So I heard him, what I believed to be my boyfriend, throw his keys on the table and then come into the living room and lay down on the couch, what I thought, and go to sleep. Like I said, I was mad at him, so I was like, I'm not even gonna
Don't they say that's what the mimics do?
acknowledge that he's here. I'm just gonna go back to sleep and deal with it in the morning. Except in the morning when I wake up and go look on the couch, nobody's there. So I text my boyfriend and I'm like, hey, were you here last night? And he was like, no, why? And I was like, oh, that's weird because somebody was here. Somebody definitely came inside, and I heard keys and somebody walk into the living room. And remember, I had a stalker, so my first thought was not paranormal. My first thought was my stalker. Right. So I went to investigate more. And
y'all, I'm so scary. My first thought would have been paranormal. Could have been a whole stalker in the house. My first thought would have been paranormal. Paranormal, baby. We got to go.
I found the basement door open. I think I forgot to mention this was the first night that I had spent in the house with just me. Like my kids weren't there. They were spending the night with my mom this night.
Good.
Close the basement door and I leave and I call somebody to come check out the basement and make sure nobody's down there. And there was nobody there. And I still was just feeling unsafe. This house had 6 entryways and 100 windows that were not very secure. Nobody was there. Nothing was there. And that was only the beginning of all the rest of the creepy paranormal shit that we were about to experience. Running out of time. I told you this was a long story. Stay tuned for part 2.
Y'all ever called the cops on a ghost? 'Cause I have now. I don't really know what else you would call it. Okay, so I will tell you this story. I was in a wedding this past weekend, and this wedding was in Tennessee, okay? And it was along the Appalachian Trail. I used to live in North Georgia, and I know a thing or two about the Appalachian Trail. The main thing that I know about it is you don't mess with it, okay? If it talks to you, no, it didn't. Turn right around. If you hear a whistle, no, you didn't. Turn right around.
Dang, how far does it stretch? I looked it up before, and I did not realize. I don't know if I said this on the last video. Anyways, I'm gonna say it again. Don't matter. I did not realize how far that the Appalachian, you know what I'm saying, mountain trail or whatever actually like stretches across, like, you know what I'm saying, from state to state. So yeah, that's crazy.
Around. I don't mess with that, and I moved away.
I'm gonna look it up real quick.
Happily from the drama that is another realm that is circling on up in there. Anyway, I'm at this wedding, and we check into our Airbnb. We get there the night of the rehearsal dinner, and of course we travel with our whole zoo. So I've got 3 dogs. I've got 3 dogs with us. And we check into the Airbnb, and immediately I go into the main bedroom to put our stuff down, and I'm like, I don't like it. And I told Sebastian, I'm like, I don't want to stay in this room. Can we stay in the other room? And he's like, the kids' room? Yes. Something in this room is wrong. We stay in the other room, and then we jet on over to the rehearsal dinner. By the time we get back that night, we're exhausted. We know we have to be up. I got early in the morning with the bridesmaids. So we crash. Now, it's important to note that because we stayed in the kids' bedroom, when you walk out of that kids' bedroom, there's like 2 living rooms and then the kitchen, but you can see all the way through to the kitchen. Dogs are in crates in that second living room. So I come out of the bedroom to go to the bathroom, and I look into the kitchen, and there I see it. There is a grown man standing in my Airbnb at the counter. This guy's big, okay? Now ask yourself, what do you do in that moment? Freeze, and I'm checking all the things. Am I asleep? Am I dreaming? Let me fixate my eyes. What am I seeing right now? No, I see, clear as day, a grown man standing at the counter, and I'm like, someone broke into the Airbnb. I watch a lot of true crime. Okay, I was prepared for this. I locked the doors. I wedged the chairs. This is an important note. I wedged the kitchen chairs up under the doors leading to the outside. Staring at this man with his back to me, and my dog, Crouton, locks in and sees what I see, and he starts his little, okay, well, time is limited. He's about to turn around. So my choice is either to lunge into the room in front of me and undo the crate and get my German Shepherd to eat this man, or there's a banister right here by the fireplace and the bedroom. So I duck right back here. So as I duck behind this banister, there's like a vase. So the wall and the vase, and I'm behind it, but I can kind of see into the kitchen while this vase is like covered. I got one eyeball on him, okay? My dog is still like, I close the door ever so quietly, and I flip the lights on, and I'm like, Sebastian, get up. And he's like, what's going on? I'm like, there is somebody in our kitchen. There's somebody in our kitchen. Holding the door, and I grab my phone, and I'm like, I'm just gonna call 911. This is not my house. This is an Airbnb that somebody has broken into. And my dogs are out there. So I call the cops, and I'm like, I'm at the Airbnb, like, track my location.
Man, why your dogs ain't biting? Yeah, barking or something. Because the dogs must not see the ghosts, but I don't believe that. Because, they be saying animals be seeing the spirits and stuff, too. So I know my dogs, if I had dogs, my dogs better be out there biting that ghost. That's what you need to be out there doing.
Somebody broke into our Airbnb. I don't know who this person is, and I don't know if they're dangerous or they're like mentally stable. I don't know. Y'all got to come in here and handle this. So as I'm on the phone with the cops, I'm like, this is such a wild way to die. Like, I would hate to be murdered at an Airbnb. I'm here for bridesmaids duty, not policeman duty. The only thing that I will be policing is the bride's tequila shots. Okay, that's what I'm here for. So longer story short, 3 minutes feels like half an hour. The cops get there. The door that we have to let them in is like right outside this bedroom door. So Sebastian's like, okay, let me go, and we'll get him in here fast. Opens the door, pulls the chair out from under the door, unlocks it, lets the cops in. Now I've got 4 cops surveilling this Airbnb. We can't find him. This man was large, okay? And we can't find him. So that's when I noticed that in the kitchen, the only other door leading to the outside also still has the chair wedged under it. Meaning that nobody could have broken inside and then broken back out and leaned the chair up under, you know what I'm saying? Like, you couldn't do that from the outside. So he is nowhere to be found. And I'm sure that I look crazy to these police officers, who at this point find out that we don't live there, it's an Airbnb, and they skedaddled. They ran out of there like an old Cartoon Network scene. I'm just in this house convinced. I'm like, Sebastian, there's no way someone left. There's no way somebody left. They are still in here. Well, there's nothing. There's no attic. There's no floorboards. I pulled out every book of a bookshelf. Nothing turned around. I don't know where this person came from. I opened every cabinet. I looked in the oven. This person disappeared. To call that other than like a mimic or something like that. Like, I walked out and maybe it didn't see me, or it did. I don't know what the situation was. What I can tell you is I did not go back to bed. That bridesmaid's morning started 4 a.m. for me. I was not going back to sleep at all. And then here's the thing, after the wedding the next night, I'm like, well, I have a choice to make. Do I either stay in this Airbnb the second night, or do I just drive home? More things that happen, like the lights would randomly just turn off and on, the TV would turn itself off and on.
Y'all, I'm getting chill bumps. Ooh, I'm getting a little scared. No. I wouldn't even been able to stay there that night. I gotta go book a hotel. I can't. Like, if she really did see a grown man, and she said he was huge, clear as day, like it would look like an actual person actually sitting there, and it turned out to be a ghost. Girl, that was a strong ghost, and you got lucky. That's a ghost with some strong energy. Like, no. Hotel, please.
Oven and dishwasher door like flew open. So there were other things that were weird too.
See?
But those were the main ones. So yeah, just wondering, guys, have you too ever accidentally called the cops on a ghost? My mom used to say if it was a snake, it'd bit you. Yeah, well, if it was a murderer, I'd be dead because I did not move fast enough. I did not.
I am born and raised in the mountains of North Carolina, specifically the Appalachian Mountains. And in honor of Halloween weekend and me trying to get more comfortable talking in front of the camera, I'm going to share a story that involves a haunted church. When I was a freshman in college, I was also roommates with one of my high school best friends, Anna. Anna and I went through a phase where we were honestly kind of obsessed with anything that was haunted just because I think we were so intrigued with it. One weekend, we decided that we wanted to go home. While we were home, we decided that we were going to meet up with two guys in Boone at the Walmart parking lot, and we were going to go to this church that was proclaimed to be haunted. I personally did not believe that it was haunted, but I was down to give it a whirl and go visit. So we meet up with these guys, and it's the two guys that are in the front seat. Anna and I are in the back seat. And these guys, I believe that they were volunteer firefighters, but they had like all of the things in the trucks. They had like the CB radio. They had like all kinds of like technology things in their truck. I don't know what they were. I just know that one of them was a CB radio. That's important for a little bit later on in the story. So we get to this church, he parks the truck, and we get out. And to be honest with you, I kind of stay back at the truck just because I didn't really want to test the waters if the church was actually haunted. So I kind of sit at the truck. The guys go do their thing. I think one of them literally goes to pee in the woods. The other one is just kind of like walking around. And Anna is not directly beside me, but she's kind of near me as well. And we're just kind of chilling. Then at one point, the guys kind of come back. So we're all kind of standing near the truck, just kind of chit-chatting. When all of a sudden, the three of us, so the two guys and I, all three hear the exact same thing. It's a very, very, very deep, dark voice that says, "Get out." Now, I also heard children laughing in the background. So I am the only one of the four of us that heard children laughing in the background and the "get out." But three of us heard an incredibly deep, dark voice that said, "Get out." So we haul into the truck. We're like running in there. And I just remember looking at Anna going, "Anna, what are you doing? Get in the truck. Did you not hear that?" Anna's like, "No, I didn't hear it." Oh my gosh. So she gets in the truck and the guys literally zoom off. We just go right past and we just get away. Well, I forgot to mention this in the very beginning of the story, but the church is on a dead-end road. It's also a dirt road. So he gets to the end of the road and we realize that we have to turn around, pass the church again to actually leave the area. Before he passes the church again, he literally stops the truck, turns the radio down, and he says, "Are y'all ready?" This might sound so dramatic, but we literally wanted to brace ourselves before he passed the church again. And how the church is located, it was literally like in the center of the road, and you kind of like had to go around it to get past it. So you would literally, as we were leaving, we saw the front of the church, and then as we were leaving, we saw the back of the church. But we literally pass it, and I'm not kidding you when I tell you that the church was glowing red. And in addition to that, all of our cell phones turned off. The radio was changing channels. The CB radio was going static, and all of the things that they had on their visors were literally just static radio sounds. Everything was just going, all the technology in the truck was literally wigging out as we're passing the truck. So obviously, we're pretty freaked out, nonetheless. We eventually get back to Anna's car, and at this point, I literally was so freaked out. I was like, "Anna, I'm staying the night with you. There's no way I'm going home." Absolutely not. As Anna and I are leaving Boone to head back up to Banner Elk, we notice that there's like this red globe light that's kind of following us the entire way up to her house. We park her car at her house.
See, y'all done brought something back. That's why y'all can't be doing stuff like that. Oh my gosh.
And her house is literally located on top of a mountain. It's absolutely stunning. And her house is here, and then like her front yard, backyard area is what I would consider like a valley, kind of. It's just like a big, beautiful field. And we park her car, and that red globe is literally in the field in front of us. And we're just like, what the heck? Do you see what we see? Like, that's so weird. I can remember this like it was yesterday. Us seeing that red globe following us the entire way, and then in her front yard completely freaked us out. So we literally counted down so we could brace ourselves to leave her car to get inside of her house. As we're running into the house, we hear church bells ringing. And I haven't mentioned this part yet, but it was nighttime. I think it was probably close to midnight by the time that we actually made it to her house. So definitely not a time of the day that you would hear church bells ringing. Fast forward like maybe 20-ish, 30-ish minutes, heck, maybe even an hour, who knows. We were both so freaked out. I was just on the cusp about to fall asleep when all of a sudden Anna's mom comes running into Anna's room, and she's like, "Girls, what are you doing?" We were like, "What are you talking about? We haven't done anything. We've been home for probably an hour. We've just been chilling. Like, what are you talking about?" She was like, "I heard the door shut so hard that it woke me up. It literally woke me up." We were like, "Marsha, we haven't done anything. We've not moved since we got home. We really don't know what you're talking about. It wasn't us." And she was like, "All right, well, that's weird." So then we all fall asleep. And then this is the part where I promised I would never fiddle with anything haunted ever again after this next detail. That next morning, we woke up and I had scratches and bruises all the way down both of my legs. Now, I don't know about you, but that's pretty daggum freaky if you ask me.
This girl sent me an email and said that her and her friends went out in the Appalachian woods.
I hate when I wake up with random scratches, or like she said, or bruises. She said it was all down her leg though.
One night and did not follow the rules, and they suffered the consequences for it. The story happened in 2019 when Shelby was 14 years old. So her mother, and her two younger siblings moved into a house in southeast Kentucky. And her mom's fiance did end up moving in with them. Now, they used to live in northern Kentucky, which is closer to Cincinnati, so they didn't really know the rules of Appalachia. It's important to know that they had 3 acres of land, and on that 3 acres of land, they had a tree line that surrounded their property. So on her first day of school, she meets a couple of girls, and for the sake of the story, we're going to call them Kylie and Brooke. So they exchange Snapchats, and they start talking, and they get to know each other. Well, about a month of living there, nothing out of the ordinary had happened. So one week, her and her friends decide that they want to have a sleepover. And because Shelby's house is the biggest, they decide that they're going to have the sleepover at her house. And she also has a pool, so there's that. On a Friday after school, her mom comes to pick all of them up. They get back to the house, and they're trying to figure out what they want to do. Brooke pipes up and suggests that they all go out in the forest that night, and they tell scary stories. And since they lived in like a small town and there wasn't much to do, they all agreed. They did all think it would be fun. Kylie, however, though, is a little bit more hesitant about it, and it's because of the rules that were set in place by the locals. It kind of freaked her out. And she does explain to them, listen, she's like, the most dangerous thing that we can do is go into the woods at night. But of course, they all shrug it off, especially Shelby, because Shelby had never heard these rules before. So nightfall comes, and they all sneak out of the house, and they go down to the end of the property line. That line followed a trail that led them into the woods. They come across this old buried church in the middle of the forest, and they all brought their drinky drinks. She was 14 years old. I was drinking too that age. And then pre-roll. By the way, if you're watching this and you...
She's like, she was drinking too. Y'all just out here getting drunk with y'all friends at 14 at y'all house with y'all friends, and y'all not scared y'all mama gonna catch y'all. Yeah, there's a cultural difference going on, I see here. I mean, obviously, ain't no way. Oh, ain't no way. No. The way you gonna be in trouble? Oh no.
You're 14 years old, you should not be drinking. So they all walk onto the steps of the church, and they light their lettuce, and they're all talking, and they're just kind of having a good time. Kylie then finally gets up, and she has to go to the bathroom. She's like, listen, I'm gonna go to the side of the church, and I'm just gonna go to the bathroom real quick. So she goes off by herself. So Brooke and Shelby are just talking on the other side of the church while she goes and does her business, when all of a sudden she comes running back, and she is screaming, "Go, go, go now. We need to leave immediately." She tells them not to ask questions. She just tells them to run. On top of her coming out of the woods absolutely hysterical, her face is pale white. So Brooke and Shelby see this, and they are freaked out. So they grab all their stuff, and they just book it back home, and they accidentally leave a bottle of Malibu behind. As they're running back to the house, Shelby said that she felt this really negative presence almost lurking and running behind them. But she couldn't really understand it at the time, so she just kept running until they got back to the house. Little would she know that she would find find out. They get into the house, they immediately lock the doors. And Kylie is like, you need to cover up all the windows right now and you need to lock them. So after they kind of get settled in and they're freaking out, and Brooke and Shelby are like, Kylie, what happened? What did you see? And she will not talk about it. So they all get together and they sit in a circle in the middle of the living room. And Kylie finally says to them, listen, there are rules set in place here for a reason. She's like, I mean it. You don't ever go into the woods here, especially at night. There are unspoken rules about these mountains and forests. Brooke is kind of just like, listen, we were just trying to have fun. We were just trying to have a good time. Did you get spooked or something? So when Kylie looks up, she takes a deep breath and she tells them what she saw. So from Kylie's perspective, she walks around the church and she goes to go to the bathroom. When she's going to the bathroom, she looks into the forest where she suddenly sees these white eyes watching her, very white. So she's trying to figure out what these eyes are because maybe it's an animal or something. But then the eyes get closer and then they get even closer. And this is when she realizes these are not eyes of an animal. These eyes belong to a woman. This woman had wet, long, jet black hair and a cross in her hand. She was pale white and barefoot, and the only other features that she could see were her eyes. As Kylie is telling them this story, she just stops there and she just starts to cry. So they're both just trying to comfort her at this point. They're telling her it's going to be okay when suddenly tap, tap, tap on the bedroom window. They all jump up
tapping on them doors and on them windows, ain't it?
Silent for a second, and they're just standing there staring at each other when tap, tap, tap again on the bedroom window. They leave the bedroom and they go downstairs to the living room and they just huddle on the couch. Only problem was they're on the couch when they realize that there's one window in the kitchen that they forgot to cover. Shelby doesn't know what to do at this point because she's not going anywhere near that window because she is terrified of what she might see. So Brooke is like, okay, I will go over there. We have to close that window. She just shrieks, screams, because standing there right outside on the tree line where the property line ends is that woman. So she goes back over to them. She is freaking out and they all just grab each other's hands and they start praying. They're praying to God that nothing else is going to happen or that nothing will happen to them. Well, thankfully, nothing else happens that night. So she wakes up. The next day is Saturday and they don't have any school. It's around 8 o'clock in the morning. Shelby gets up and she's just sitting there for a second because she's trying to kind of take in what happened last night. She then gets up and she goes to the front door because she's expecting mail and packages. When she opens the door, she doesn't see any packages. She sees that bottle of Malibu they left behind sitting on the front porch, dirty, like someone dragged it through the mud. She grabs a paper towel, she picks it up, she throws it away in the trash bin outside. She goes back inside and she didn't say a word to either of the girls when they woke back up. Fast forward a year later, her, Kylie, and Brooke are still friends and her family decides that they're going to get up and move back to Cincinnati. Her, Kylie, and Brooke are still friends to this day. Shelby has stayed silent about this entire time. She hasn't told the girls what happened when she woke up that day, and she also hasn't told her parents what happened because she said that she's still not done processing it. But there's 3 things that she knows. 1, if she ever goes back to the Appalachian Mountains, she will never go back into the woods. 2, never acknowledge a being's presence. And 3, always shut your blinds and lock your doors because you don't know what's trying to get in. So what did you guys think of that story?
Oh yeah, you never acknowledge, even if you think that you might, something seem off or you might hear something or whatever. Oh no, though. I mean, y'all know I'm scary, so sometimes, it do be a little, you might get caught up like, what was it? But other than that, no, you gotta go on, hurry up and get back. You know what I'm saying? Hurry up and regroup. Try not to do that if you can, but hurry up and regroup. Like, I ain't heard nothing. Hear no evil. See no evil around that bed. Okay? Like, matter of fact, I'm gonna go put myself to bed. I'm going to bed. You gonna have to make the house shake, okay, to make me acknowledge you. If you acknowledge it, that's when the stuff really get the cranking up, okay?
It's pretty creepy. I'm sorry, but the part where like the tapping on the window, when I was reading it, that part freaked me out. I was like, oh, what am I gonna hear? Like, I don't wanna know. Super creepy. Look at my freaking self tanner. It's driving me nuts.
Is it something on her hands?
I hate women ghosts with long dark hair. I think I talked about this in my video last night. I swear I think that like evil spirits know that human beings do not like women spirit or female spirits with long dark hair, because how many people see female spirits with long dark hair? I can't tell you the amount of emails I get where people see spirits that are female with long dark hair. They're just scary. Like, I don't know what it is about the human brain that thinks that's so scary, but evil knows. That's my thought on it. That's my theory. But tell me what you guys think this was. Does anyone live in Appalachia that knows what this could have been? Because I have never heard of this type of being in the woods in Appalachia. Normally it's like a creature or something. I've never heard of something like this. So if you know what this could have been, please drop it in the comments. I would love to know. I'm sure she would too. Number two, like any thoughts, comments, suggestions that you have, please drop them below. But as always, please be respectful. And now I'm going to do my favorite part, which is the shout outs. Before I go into the shout outs,
Man, y'all, that probably was a little pharaoh person, like the first lady, like the lady at the beginning, towards the beginning of this video said. That was probably just a pharaoh, little crazy human, still of this earth, still alive, hanging around on some creepy stuff.
I do want to apologize to you guys. I have been so bad with comments. I am
Okay, we're gonna skip that. We need the next story, ma'am. Thank you for your service. Hold on. Let's back this up for Lion King. I want to hear what he got to say.
have a safe night. And what's the third one? Say it with me. Have a spooky night. Love you guys so much, my spooky babies. I'll see you in the next one. Spooky kisses and haunted hugs.
When I was younger, I decided to walk the Appalachian Trail. It was not fun to do, but I decided to do this. The reason I decided to do this because I was on this big journey of self-discovery where I needed to find myself. I needed to be a person. I needed to find this intrinsic journey to make life more romanticized, to feel like I need a purpose in life. It didn't help. But on the trail, you'd encounter people. They'd approach you. Some people would be coming the opposite direction. You'd say hi. And over time, I thought that I would get this sense of big relief from being alone because I thought I was a person that didn't like people. I'm not. I'm not a person that doesn't like people. Every time I saw one of those people coming up, I relished every moment. I was like, hello, and they say hi. And that little thing got me through another hour of the trail. It was very cathartic. It was amazing. I loved every minute of every time I passed by people. They were so kind and so sweet. However, somebody was coming up from the rear of me. And from the rear, he had this big backpack. Cocky, strong dude, but shorter legs. He said, hey. I was like, whoa! He was like 5'1" with the voice of Thor. I was like, oh my god, your voice is like Morgan Freeman on steroids, dude. What are you on about? He said, walking the trail? And I said, yeah. He said, come on, let's walk together for a little bit. Come with me. We talked. He told me about his beautiful family. He told me about the beauty of his life. He told me amazing things. I was super excited to learn about this man's life. And then he said, yeah, I disregard all of that, though. They can live without me. And I said, oh, you decided to take this journey by yourself? Are the kids okay? He said, they're not here anymore. And he smiled. And I said, okay. What about the wife? And he said, she's not here anymore. And he smiled. And I said, oh, like tragic event, something like that. No, he didn't elaborate. He just said, let's just say I don't got to worry about him ever again. And he just looked so happy walking the trail. Super cocky dude. Had an aura of like a bear almost, like a little meat nugget. And I said, okay, all right, cool. Well, and then after 6 minutes of silence and him just humming to himself, I said, okay, what do you mean you don't have to worry about them ever again? He said, well, we're probably never going to see each other again, but let me tell you something. I've done things in my life that I'm proud of that other people wouldn't be proud of. Let's just say that. And he kept walking. And we met up and we camped together, actually. We sat down and we camped together.
See, you crazy too. You crazy too, sir. I'm sorry. Like after that whole interaction, you still chilling with? Yeah, it's something off about you too. See, I should have knew it.
He got me some hot chocolate. It was very nice. And while I slept, terrified, he left in the middle of the night and packed up his bags.
Man, this story fake. Ain't no way, y'all. Ain't no way he telling me this man told him this story. He still hung out with him, camped with him, talking about he gave me some hot chocolate. Then you drunk whatever it is he gave you. He could have knocked you out or anything. And then you said you woke up and he disappeared in the middle of the night. Man, this is fake. No, I don't believe this story. Ain't no way you this crazy. This story is fake.
Me some beef jerky and said good luck and a little sticky note on the beef jerky. I met a psychopath that day, I think. And I think about him a lot. I wonder if he got caught. I
think that story fake. Ain't no way.
I am so exhausted because I had the weirdest experience of my life last night. While sleeping in my tent, I woke up at 3:44 to some extremely loud music playing in the middle of the forest, like new age XXYY with ZZ, I don't know how to say it, spiritual alien type stuff. And it was so loud. It was like a religious stadium had music playing at 3:44 in the morning or something. I don't know how to explain it. It went on for hours. And it freaked me the F out. I seriously was like, did I die? Like, what's going on? What's going on?
Hell no.
What's going on?
My bad, y'all. I'm trying to skip ahead. Hold on. Is this hers? I'm like really scared.
I really had to just
Yeah, I
accept
don't
the
know.
fact that I live on the Appalachian Trail, and that's why weird shit happens outside my house all the
And hold on, real quick before I even skip, what is it with y'all going to these like remote little random little places in the woods that you pick to camp out at? I get it. I get it. It does sound nice, you know, on your ooh, let's survive, let's get in nature. I love nature. I love hiking. Y'all know that's one of my favorite activities to do. If not the top favorite activity I love to do with my family, go on new hiking trails and all of that. I love camping and all of that. But no, sweetheart, I like to be camping safely, okay? I want to go camping where this is like a designated, like, you know what I'm saying, little camping. You know, them place where you can rent out camp spots, and it's a place where like a lot of people go. They got the little office right there, right there. You can go in there and buy you some snacks or some stuff to make you some little s'mores. They already got the pre-set up fire pits for you. Yeah, that's the type of camping I want. You know, with a lot of people there, it's staff there, all of that. This whole just going and picking out a random space in the woods to go camping, I can't. No, no, thank you.
time. I posted a video not that long ago of me and my husband hearing a voice right outside of our window, and that voice saying, "It's me." And it was like a childlike voice. Nothing on the cameras, nobody outside. And it happened to me again. It's the middle of the night. I'm upstairs, I'm in bed, my windows are open because it's a nice night. I hear children's voices in my backyard, loud and clear. Giggling, laughing, can't see anything on the cameras. I tell my husband, he can't see anything on the cameras. Now, I'd like to interject the fact that I'm not one of those white people that are going to go and find out what's going on.
Oh. Let me see your friend group. Let me see your family tree. Girl, look, you said it. Somebody had to say it, because look, they sure be putting y'all on the movies like, hello, anybody there? Stepping out, opening the door and stuff, stepping outside house. I'm like, ain't no way people doing this in real life. People really do be doing that in real life, y'all. Ain't no way. I'm not. I can't. No, I don't care.
I'm safe in my house, and I don't give two shits on what's happening outside of it. I just find it very weird that we're hearing these random voices in our backyard, and this is not the first time. And again, little kids are not going to be outside in the backyard in the middle of the night.
I debated whether telling this story or not.
Don't worry about it. Turn the TV on and turn it up. We don't hear nothing.
Because it is so terrifying that I couldn't sleep for nights. I'm about to tell you one of the most haunted places in all of the Appalachia region. Not only that, but this tunnel right here is Sensabaugh Tunnel, and it is the most haunted tunnel in America. It's located in East Tennessee in an area called Church Hill. And if you're from that area, you know about Sensabaugh Tunnel, and you know never to go at night and don't go alone. Not only are there so many...
Why is y'all going the tunnel? I can't. Y'all are stressing me out. Y'all are stressing me out with these unnecessary adventures. Like, why do people be going to these tunnels, these haunted places. I get it. I get it. Y'all be curious and low key, high key. I like it because then it give me something to watch. You know, you record yourself going there. All amazing content. And you know, people like me who are very curious but too scared to go myself, I get to watch it. I get to be curious and watch it from the safety of my home. Thank you for your service. But the fact that you even able to do that though, I'm like, I'm trying to get at your mind. I'm trying to get at your psyche. I'm trying to see what you thinking. Like, how are you even brave enough to just go out there and put yourself under them extreme conditions? And then the people who be going by themselves, like just their camera in themselves, they don't even have like another person with them. Oh, I'm telling you, I already done said this. You different. Oh, you different. You're brave. You're brave. Yeah.
Tales and stories of the
They
supernatural
don't make them
happening
like
around
you.
this tunnel, but there was actually a homicide that was committed right near this tunnel just a few years ago. Legend has it that back in the 20s, a man named Edward Sensabaugh owned this land that the tunnel was built on. At some point while living there, Edward went mad and he killed his wife and his children. One of them was a newborn baby, by drowning them in the creek right by the tunnel and then burying their bodies under the tunnel. Flash forward to today, and a lot of people, even the locals, don't use this tunnel because the creek that runs by there will overflow and flood, and the tunnel always has running water that moves through it. A lot of people also don't go just because of the crazy things that happen to them. I am one of those people, and I'm about to share my story with you. I was in high school and this was around Halloween, and against my parents' wishes, I snuck out with one of my friends to go to Sensabaugh Tunnel just to see what it was all about. Now, what most people say they experience is that they drive
Sneaking out. Yeah, okay.
into the tunnel, and if they turn their car off, the car won't turn back on. A lot of people say that they also hear a baby cry. Once we pulled up to the tunnel, I just had this very uneasy feeling, and I told my friend, we are not going to drive our car in there. I didn't want the possibility that our car was going to turn off and not restart. So I'm like, let's just get out with our flashlight and kind of explore the area. We got out of the car with...
Why? Ma'am, why? And then y'all be knowing the history of these places and you still go and want to be curious. Come on, man.
Our flashlights, and I was just kind of like looking around the top of the tunnel. There's trees everywhere. This is like back in the woods, okay? I kid you not, I see a massive barn owl up in the tree, and something about this owl just terrified me. I immediately wanted to turn around and go home, but my friend was like, Sydney, we drove all the way out here, like we at least have to go into the tunnel.
I don't care.
We're walking through the tunnel, kind of shining our flashlights on the wall, and a lot of people have gone and written with graffiti and stuff, so there's all these messages, turn around, never come back, things like that. But we don't hear anything weird. I'm not hearing a baby crying like the legends say, anything like that, but as we go deeper into the tunnel, our flashlights start to flicker. And my friend's
Oh, I just noticed it's the baby in the background. I'm like, what is that in the background?
flashlight just turns off and she can't get it to turn back on. It's at this point we are getting, like, we're booking it back out of the tunnel. And then something even more terrifying happens. We begin to hear footsteps. And they're not coming from behind us. They're coming from like the top of the tunnel. By this point, I have almost peed my pants. We get back to the car and there's this low hanging branch over the car. The owl is sitting in the branch right over our car. We get in and I'm like, just go, please, please go. And as we're driving back down this tiny, narrow road out of the woods, her flashlight turns back on. To this day, I have not returned to Sensabaugh Tunnel. It is actually one of the most terrifying places I have ever been. Let me know in the comments if you've ever heard of Sensabaugh Tunnel, if you've ever been and what experience you have. And also let me know if you want to hear about more legends surrounding the Appalachia.
Ever been way back in the woods in western North Carolina and maybe felt like something was watching you? Maybe you turned around and there wasn't nothing there, but the leaves was rustling and you heard the snapping of limbs like something was getting away. Maybe you heard cries out in the middle of the wilderness and you didn't know what they were. I'd like to give a shout out to my friend Larry for his request of this story. Which leads me to today's question. What y'all know about the story of Boojum and Hootenanny? Well, this story dates back to the early 1900s when Boojum was first sighted here in western North Carolina. Well, honey, old Boojum, he's a big old burly thing, about 8 feet tall. And he's covered with thick, shaggy hair, gray hair, all over his body, except for his face. And his face looks like a man, making him a true mixture of a beast and a man. He's been seen up on the mountaintops, up on them cliffs, and sometimes in clearings, out in them western North Carolina woods. If you listen closely, sometimes you can hear him hollering out there. Old Boojum, he loved 2 things. He loved women, and he loved gemstones. Honey, rubies, amethyst, emeralds. It was shiny, Boojum loved it. He liked his women like he liked them gemstones, honey. Beautiful. And when them women was out there in them mountain streams, taking them a bath, Boojum would hide in the woods and watch them, 'cause he was gonna catch him a peek. Here in these Appalachian hills, that's one way that people save money, was to bathe in them secluded mountain streams, honey. Old Boojum, he'd run when they saw him. Take off just a flying, honey, back to one of them caves that he lived in. He had many caves in the area, and he kept his gemstones hoarded up in them. There was a beautiful local girl named Annie. Well, one day she was up there in that stream, and she was taking her a bath. Just like the others, she noticed she was being watched. She turned around, honey, and Boojum was right there. Rather than running off like the rest of the women did, she took one look into his sad eyes, and she was drawn right in, honey. She was in love. Boojum had found himself a woman. Old Boojum, he settled down with Annie, but he wasn't gonna give up looking for them gemstones. His love was still strong, looking for them gems. So he'd leave poor Annie up in them caves a lot of times, going out looking for gemstones. Poor old Annie would get lonely up there in them caves, and she would go out and she'd start hollering. A sound that sounded like a mixture between a scream of a wild animal and a hoot of an owl, trying to get Boojum to come on home. Now, this hollering was a communication system between her and Boojum, and it's where the mountain term Hootenanny comes from. There was an old hotel up there called the Eagle Nest Hotel. It opened July 24th of 1900. And the guests to that 40-room hotel, honey, reported hearing them hollering out there in them woods all the time. The tales of Boojum and Hootenanny went wild. Well, no one knows what happened to old Annie and Boojum, but if you're real quiet when you're hiking out in them woods, you might hear them hollering, or you might see their shadows at dusk up on the mountaintop. Maybe it's the ancestors of old Boojum and Hootenanny. Now tell me, did you know this story?
Hi guys, I'm going to tell you some creepy things that have personally happened to me while living in the Appalachian Mountains. So my family cemetery is across the road from my parents' house, but they own all the property, and it's pretty close to their house. And when my grandfather passed away and he was buried up there, every night there would be like a flickering light up around his grave, and there was no lights up there, like no solar lights, nothing like that. And it happened for a couple years, and then eventually it stopped, but it always happened at the same time every night. So, kind of creepy.
What he's trying to communicate, I actually think that it is cool to be able to, like I say, buy land that you are able to pass down to your kids and all that or whatever too. But also it is cool to also be able to build a cemetery like either on that land or close to the land, to where, you know what I'm saying? Like that's also where it's your family cemetery where you get to bury all of your loved ones on this land that you've built up and passed down for generations and generations. So I actually think stuff like that is cool. I'm just too scary to take it as far as the like whole little cemetery part, because you know the little ghostly stuff. That's it. Other than that, though, if I wasn't so dang scary, you know, shoot, I would be like, yeah, like I think stuff like that is like I say, it's nice, it's pretty cool. You know, that's where your loved ones at. You know, you able to go right there, visit them and all that. But I personally, I don't go to cemeteries. I don't go to funerals. None of that. I don't do none of that. I don't want my last memory of you and moment seeing you is to be looking at you in a casket or anything. So I just, yeah, and just for my own, you know, state of mind and all that, like no. So yeah.
Parents' house, they had wooden rocking chairs outside on the porch, and they rock by themselves sometimes at night. Also, my parents, they built a log cabin, and that's where I grew up. And log cabins, whenever there's temperature changes, the logs constantly expand and contract. So we're assuming this is what it was.
Really? I didn't know that.
But one night, it was late at
You
night.
learn something new every day.
We was all asleep, and there's just constant, like, thumping outside of the house. Like, it was so loud, it was deafening, and it was probably one of the scariest things, because we honestly have no idea what it was. But I couldn't even describe the sound because it was so creepy. And the only thing we could think of is it was probably the logs expanding and contracting because it was really, really cold. It was actually came an ice storm, so that's what we think it was. A few years ago, a distant family member passed away, but they lived up the same holler that I used to live up. And the moment that they took their last breath, the power went off in the whole holler.
Here's an Appalachian horror story for you. I gotta warn you, if you're gonna be alone tonight or have to go walk outside in the dark for any reason, do not watch this one because this one is a true story. It's just the supernatural element that's up for debate. And it's the story of Casey Hathaway, the 3-year-old boy who went missing from his North Carolina grandparents' home in the Appalachian Mountains. And what just dumbfounds people.
Ain't that the story that we heard already? We heard that story already, right? On the last video we did about the Appalachian Mountains. Let's see.
Is how he survived. He was missing for 3 days, and he was in a pajama onesie. This is his picture of when they found him, okay? Now, if you notice, there's no mud on the bottom of his feet. Yet, right after he went missing, it rained heavily. In fact, so much that there was so much mud that the rescuers could not navigate the woods hardly at all. Now, this is where it gets a supernatural twist. After he was found, for 3 days being missing with a few minor scratches, but he was fed and he had been drinking because he was not dehydrated. After he was found, they said, "How did you survive?" And he goes to tell the tale of the fuzzy people that saved him. Not fuzzy like Harry. He says fuzzy like TV static. Okay? He said they kept him company. They talked to him, though he couldn't understand them. They fed him. They watered him.
They watered him. What is he, a plant? Let me stop.
Twig snapping.
For those of y'all who watched the last Appalachian video with me, y'all know we already heard this story, but we're going to let it play, obviously, for people who didn't see that one.
They fed him, they watered him, they gave him shelter, and he was found just a quarter mile away from his home after rescuers had essentially given up and assumed that he could only be dead because while he was missing, it was below zero. During the day, when it was above freezing, it was raining. So when it was above freezing, it was raining. So then he would have gotten hypothermia after being soaking wet. And when they found him, he was barely wet at all. Like, it had shown no signs, essentially, that he had been in these elements for 3 days. They didn't think it was possible for a grown man to survive these conditions, let alone a child that was just wearing pajamas. No cold weather gear, no nothing. His family will not recount the story the same way. They say that he said it was a bear. And the first responders are like, no, he said it was a fuzzy person. Fuzzy people.
That don't even make sense, though. Like, I don't even, that part right there is like, is that even true? That does not make sense. So the family gonna say a bear saved the little boy and kept him safe. Then the damn, I guess, paranormal. I mean, they both sound crazy, but like a bear, come on now. A bear, he would have been food. He would have been a little snack.
People took care of him. And they're like, no, he says it's a bear. And to this day, the family recounts the story as he talks about there being a bear. So guess what? During this search, they had hunters, trappers, because they thought, maybe it was an animal. There's mountain lions in that area. There's bears in that area. No bear scat was ever found. No bear dens were ever found. And most importantly, remember how muddy it was? There was no bear footprints found. What's even stranger is Casey, the little boy, his footprints were not found either. He was just found tangled up in a thorn bush a quarter mile away from where he went missing. The rescuers and his personal family had searched that exact area literally hundreds of times. Like, thousands of people were out here. They combed that area a million times. And he was so close to his home. How they found him is no one saw him. They could just hear him. He was like, hey, somebody come get me. And that's where he said the fuzzy people left him. was in this thorn bush. And you can see on that picture, if you go back, I'll put it up here again, you can see his little toe on the onesie is tore up, indicating that, yeah, he was stuck in that thorn bush. But why wasn't he muddy? If you look at photos of the rescuers, they were talking about, like, it was like knee-deep mud they're sloshing around in. They were, like, talking about it was the worst, sloshiest conditions ever. Yet this little boy that's been out here for 3 days, it looks like somebody's been carrying him the whole time. Kind of like how a big ape would carry their young. Kind of like how a Bigfoot would carry somebody. That's where the conspiracy theories go, is that this was a Bigfoot that abducted him or took care of him when he did wander away, because his grandma describes him as vanishing into thin air. She took her eyes off of him for 2 minutes, boom, he's gone. Now, we know how kids are, but the whole family immediately went searching for him. And even if he was
saying them kids up, bam, just like that. And it's so crazy because it's like their legs ain't even that long.
In a full dead sprint, he shouldn't have been able to get that far, right? Now, a lot of people want to say Bigfoot photographs are always fake or they're always blurry. Well, if we listen to Casey Hathaway here, what if Bigfoot are just fuzzy? Like they're not blurry in the photos because somebody's a bad photographer. What if that's just the way they appear? Because if you look at Native American folklore, they talk about how Bigfoot is not a creature of our plane of existence. He can walk into our realm and out of our realm. So light wouldn't apply to him the same way if he's coming in and out, phasing in and out. And that would also explain why this little boy, he might have not even been in our plane of existence anymore. He might have been back to wherever Bigfoot land is, or what that area, the Appalachian area, call the Fae. If you want to look into the Fae story of this, the theory of this, Fae are often known for luring children. That is one of the big things they talk about with the Fae. They talk about people seeing that, like, they get their name called, or there's like this luring music, or they might even see another child in the woods motioning for them to come here, and it lures them. And the Fae have been described notoriously as being creatures of light, or being like fuzzy or blurry, because, you know, they're not quite of our realm, so you can't see them the way you would see like an actual regular physical object. Who knows? What we do know is that a little boy survived odds that no one should have been able to survive, with relatively no repercussions at all. And he himself talks about the fuzzy people, okay? And the doctors all agree somebody had to give him food and water. So then that goes back to a lot of people saying, oh, what if he was abducted? What if this or that? Where's the footprints? The rescuer's footprints could be seen everywhere. But somehow this boy, it was like he just pooped into the thorn bush. There is no tracks for him leading to the thorn bush. There's only the tracks leading away from the thorn bush after he was found and discovered. Almost like he was dropped from the sky or dropped from a tree. Once again, the way a great ape would drop you out of a tree. So the next time you're walking in the Appalachian woods, just remember, most likely you're not walking alone.
Hey, y'all.
Why are you outside in the dark telling this story? Oh, you brave. Okay. You brave.
It's story time from my front porch, so pull up a seat and listen real close. This story comes from several different hiking forums and logs, so let's head over to the Smoky Mountain area of the Appalachian Trail. Before we get started, let's just say the Appalachian Trail has a ton of crazy paranormal stories attached to it. And we are going to create a series on all things Appalachian Trail, Appalachian folklore, and just stories of old Appalachia. We'll have our other stories too, of course, but if you know me,
let's get to the story.
Catching up because it is getting dark and, you know, everybody's going to be going in. So he steps off to the side to let them pass through ahead of him. He waits a moment or two, but nobody passes by, and the footsteps completely stop. He shrugs it off, keeps moving, thinking he was just tired and just hearing things. But before long, there it is again, the footsteps, and this time they are matching his pace, close enough that he can feel them more than hear them. He stops, they stop. He walks, they walk. And that's when the unease really starts to set in. You know, the kind that crawls up your spine before your mind even actually catches up with what is going on. So he picks up his pace, whatever's behind him does too, step for step, like a shadow trying to stay hidden. Then, out of nowhere, a voice slips through the trees. It's just one single word. Hey.
Mm-mm.
He spins around so fast he nearly loses his footing. But there's nothing or nobody on the trail. No hikers, no animals, just the trail stretching out behind him, quiet and growing darker by the minute. He doesn't say a thing, doesn't answer, just keeps walking, eyes forward, heart pounding. He's heard enough stories to know better than to answer. A little farther up the trail, it happens again. Same voice, same word. Hey. Only this time, it sounds like him, his own voice, right behind his shoulder, close enough he should have felt the breath of it. He doesn't turn around, doesn't look, just walks a little faster until the shelter finally comes into view like some kind of lifeline. Inside, he tells another hiker what had happened, and the man just nods slow, like he's been waiting for someone else to say it first. Then he asks, "Did it sound like you?" Because the night before, on that same stretch of trail, he'd heard the same footsteps, that same voice, the same word. Now maybe it's the mountains playing tricks, echoes bouncing strange in the hollers. Maybe. But folks out there along the trail and all over Appalachia say something a little different. They say if the woods ever call out to you, don't answer back, especially after dark.
The Appalachian Mountains are weird. Okay? I live in the Appalachians. Don't ask me how I got here or why I'm here.
That's exactly what I want to know. Girl, you ain't heard the stories? How they get you up there?
It's weird around this motherfucker. You know how in the movies, like the Twilight Zone.
I was
like,
just
not
about
even
to
the
say
Twilight
that
Zone.
the Twilight movie.
Like you ever see those movies where you go somewhere new, right? You're traveling, you got the family traveling or whatever, and they make it to a town. And everybody in the town act weird.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it is around this motherfucker. It's like that. It's like that. Now I meet some really cool people. But I also meet some, I ain't gonna say meet, like I also observe some really weird shit as well. Like, you know what it feels like? Cults. That's what it feels like. It feels like a lot of people are in cults here.
They might be. Remember that lady from the earlier video said, what she was calling them Pharaoh people, y'all. Oh, and then the other girl that said she went to that church with her friend and the boys. No, that wasn't the one that went to the church with the friends and the boys. It was the one with the 14-year-olds drinking, and she saw the lady in the woods with the cross. Remember, I told you, I said that was a dang human, probably one of them Pharaoh people watching them.
Like the whole the shit that people be doing. I had an interview one time, like maybe a year ago. This little town, little town, and I got to the town. It was about 30-minute drive. Got to the town, and when I tell you everything in that town, the vibe of that town felt so bad that I was like, I gotta get the fuck up out of here. I didn't ask no questions. I didn't try to figure out where I needed to go. The air felt weird. This is a weird ass place. These mountains is weird. Listen, then one time I used to do the not DoorDash, Instacart. I did Instacart for a while. That'll really show you some shit. I had to deliver an order to this man who lived in the mountains. And you never know when you delivering where the person lives until you get the order. So it ain't like I just could have been like, no, but that's before I learned how to work the app. Anyway, I don't do it anymore. I had to go through all type of shit, like up all type of shit. When I tell y'all, listen, it's some shit in these mountains, baby. It was a whole ass lodge, and that bitch was huge.
If y'all know, go check out the conspiracy theory videos we do over here. If y'all know, y'all know. If y'all know, y'all know. These cults and stuff, y'all, it ain't just no conspiracy. Be real deal cults out here. people in high places in society, all that. A lot of this we see out here, real deal cults and real deal cults. That's all I'm gonna say.
Tall ass fucking cathedral.
All I'm gonna say is we living in a day and age where the conspiracy theorists ain't looking so crazy no more. They ain't looking so crazy no more.
Colors and huge. This was not a church.
And look, I'm gonna say this. I forgot to actually show y'all when I went out in town and did that video of me getting my soup press on one of my pre-recorded uploads. They on the way to Kansas and in different parts of Kansas, I've noticed a couple different they little lodges or whatever I'll say. They got some, like she said, like that's big. And they got that symbol. They got that symbol. They be using on all their stuff, even on the businesses. It's a bank right outside the base, y'all. Got that these military stuff. All I'm gonna say is they all tapped into the same if you ask me. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. Even where they be having these bases at is not by hey, I am trying not to get too deep into it though, because this supposed to be the scary day. That's all I'm saying. And then even some of they like little lodges and stuff, they be looking like some of them be like, y'all, they be like looking like churches, and then they look like they smaller. They're not as like, I guess, like big or whatever, or like noticeable like that, especially if you don't know what you're looking at or looking for. Is that some of them look like run down or not like they really being used no more? And who knows though? Hell, they probably is. That's probably the little front on the outside. But yeah, they got some too. Like I said, unless you know what you're looking at, it's very easy to like go unnoticed. You know, just kind of blend in, look like a little church or something, like, you know.
He lived a little bit across the street. It was only one way up the mountain. Then he had a sign that said, "If I were you, I would turn back now." Baby, when I tell you I threw that man food out on the side of the damn car and got the fuck out of Dodge. This motherfucking place is weird. I'm just
Look, and then if she would have went missing while on the damn delivery to deliver his food, he would have somehow never been a suspect, or if he was a suspect, all the evidence could have been pointing to him. But you know what I'm saying, next thing you know, that person would have still got off. Hey, come on.
I'm just sharing the people are weird. I be telling my son,
look, we didn't had. I'm sorry. Let me let her finish, y'all.
the only normal people here. I would say the white women here are normal. They're pretty normal. The black women here are normal. The men here are weird. The black men here are so weird. They weirder than the white men. The Hispanics, they all normal. When I tell you these folk, and by weird, I just it kind of feels like they stuck in time. Like, I'm not even playing. Like, some of the shit I see, and I'm not trying to be superficial, but like some of the shit they wear the way they wear their hair, it's almost like they are stuck in time. And I'm not one of them people that's just like, oh, people should be up to date on the trends. Like, fuck that. No, listen to me. I'm telling y'all something wrong with these folks. Something wrong.
It's so crazy she said that. Now, y'all remember I said, for those of you who've been following me, whatever, you know, I don't practice a specific religion, right? And it's been times throughout my life that, you know, as a family, me and my husband has tried, you know, getting into the church and like connect, and it just don't speak, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to speak for both of us, but you know, he's told me this too, right? It don't speak to him. It don't speak to me or whatever, right? And this last time, if you go check on the channel I have on our family channel, whatever, right? The channel I have on my family. That last video I did when I titled it "Who Is God," and we tried to go to church or whatever. Again, we had tried to give it another go. Again, it just fell off. It did not speak to me. And it actually made our oldest, like, he was sad as hell, like, after church. Like, it didn't speak, clearly didn't speak to him either. Like, it was just off, y'all. But anyways, the church we had went to, y'all, we live in Kansas. And remember, I told y'all they got they got lodges out here. I noticed them on our way here. We was out, and we actually ran into this a lot. Like, for a minute, we would be out, and then randomly it'd be like these black couples, whether it be a black couple or like older man or older lady, you know what I'm saying, coming up to us, trying to invite us to their churches or whatever, our different churches. And we like, nah, we ain't religious, but like, and then we ended up, caving one time and be like, oh, okay, let's go check it out. Let's go see it, whatever, right? And that's especially a way too that, a lot of our people like build a community or whatever, right? Y'all, when we met this couple, right? The couple that we had initially decided to like take them up on their offer, they seemed cool. Our kids was playing together at the park and stuff. We was talking to the parents and all of that, right? And what's crazy is right before we went to this church, my son had got invited to a birthday party of another little kid, you know what I'm saying, that he met at another kid's birthday party, and me and the mom was chopping it up and all of that, right? And he got invited to that kid's birthday party. Long story short, we, had hung out with them a couple times before. While we at this me and my family, we ended up going to the church we got invited to by this couple, y'all. When I tell y'all, everybody in this church, when she say it's like them people up there in the Appalachian, the men, it's like they stuck in time. At this church, it wasn't just the men. Y'all, from the way these people dressed in this church, the way they was acting, y'all, these people in this church, this was like, and they called this like a multicultural church. They was dressed old as hell, like they was back in time. And y'all, the vibe was weird. It was weird. It was off. Like, and when y'all hear me talk about, y'all, these people had this stare that I usually equate to, you know what I'm saying, the colorless, but these people, when you talking to them, it was like they had the stare with no souls behind the eyes. I kid you not. I cannot make this shit up. I don't mean to curse. I cannot make this up. It was weird in that church, y'all. It was weird. So where like as soon as me and my husband left or whatever, because then the lady who had invited us, she had introduced us to her mom or whatever. And y'all, when she introduced us to her mom, she had the stare bad. She had it worse than everybody else we had seen. Y'all, when they say the eyes are the windows to the soul, these motherfuckers was in this church like on some get out stuff, y'all. On some it was no soul, y'all. These people was in this church with no soul behind the eyes. I kid you not, I cannot make this up. And it's crazy, like, because first of all, before we even left the church, while we still in the church, I'm still breastfeeding our youngest child at the same time. And they had a little area where you can go off to breastfeed the babies or whatever, right? In another room. So soon, not too long before, like, you know what I'm saying, before I actually can't even get it ready to sit down with my husband and they see the baby ready to eat. So my husband would go, when we first get there, my husband go and sit down with our other two kids, and I take our youngest to go into the room to go breastfeed. As I walk, the lady showing me where the breastfeeding room is at or whatever. I run into the girl that I knew, you know what I'm saying, off base from our kids playing together. She and her baby around the same age as our youngest, right? And she in there breastfeeding her child or whatever, right? And me and her get, you know what I'm saying, chopping up like, hey, you know what I'm saying, you run to people like, hey, what you doing here? Because if her family got invited too, like by, somebody else from the church. So y'all tell me why we talking or whatever. And we like saying like, yeah, like something off that nice, whatever, right? So after we leave, me and my husband, as soon as we get in the car, we say the same thing at the same time, like, bro, no. Did something off about this church, and we was literally start peeping. And usually my husband be one of the people, like, I'd be the one usually picking up on the weird shit. It was so strong, y'all. Even my husband was like, at the same time, we said the same time, like, bro, something is off. And then like we start talking about the eyes, y'all. Like, hey, you could see it in the eyes. something is off them people in the church. And then I'm not tripping, and we wasn't tripping on the ones peeping it, because when I the next time I had hung out with the girl, whatever, and our kids was playing together, we was talking about the experience at the church, and she said the same thing. She was like, man, me and my husband was like, oh, they been texting that the people been blowing her up about her and her family coming back to the church or whatever. And they had been, the people who had invited us was like, yeah, can't wait to see you next time, and asking us to come back or whatever. And I'm just like, you know what I'm saying? Like, look, it ain't mature. They say the ghost people. I ain't gonna lie, y'all. I ain't finna get up and act like I'm perfect. Sometimes too, I don't be know how to break the news to people, because I honestly don't remember even ever hitting them people back. They weirded me out so bad, y'all. I think I just didn't even respond. I kid you not. I think I just did not. I think actually I did. It was like, oh, we not coming, you know what I'm saying, this Sunday or whatever. And then we just ended up just never coming back anyways, even after that. You get what I'm saying? Just never coming back at all. But she was telling me how the people, or I think it was a couple that invited them too, but obviously a different one. But whoever, you know what I'm saying, the people had invited them to the church had been blowing her up consistently, like really wanting her family to come back. You know what I'm saying? Her husband and their kids stuff to come back to the church or whatever. Like, and she was, telling me like I said, she had peeped, her husband had peeped the same thing. Like something was off about that church and them people in that church, y'all. I'm telling you. It'd be a lot, it's a lot of people in these cults and these like weird society type things that be hiding in these churches too. And y'all think they be in there, you know what I'm saying, on the same type of thing y'all be on when y'all in there just trying to get the word and trying to connect to the Most High and all that. You got to be careful. What they say, they say that God told y'all you don't got to go to them churches to praise him and get that word. And it's going to be a lot of evil in them churches than outside the churches or something like that. I don't know. I ain't trying to tell y'all how to go praise, how to go worship. I ain't trying to tell y'all to leave y'all churches. All I'm saying is y'all better be careful when y'all hear people coming out saying that it's a lot of witches, warlocks, weirdos, people in cults, all they hiding all up and through these churches, a lot of weird stuff, witchcraft and all that going on in these churches, and y'all really be thinking that it's for something else, but it really be hiding behind them dark, sinister reasons, like I told y'all these governments be doing. Y'all, they not lying. They not lying to y'all. I'm telling you, you gotta have that discernment. Discernment, whether you religious with discernment, whatever you want to call it, that good feeling. I don't care what you call it. You got to have that spirit to be able to peep shit when it's off. I'm telling you. I ain't mean going to the whole little sidebar storyline with y'all, but y'all already know how we do over here. The people, you know what I'm saying, that's the part of the family that's rocking with us over here. Y'all already know how we do. We goes off on tangents over here, okay? But I was saying that to say, it's crazy she say that, because, me and my family had our own experiences with that. Like, where it's like the people back in time, y'all, they dressed like back in the day. Like, and it was weird. It was weird. It was weird.
Okay. Listen. Make this motherfucking video go viral so I can get the fuck out of here. Which I don't get paid from it anyway, because I had a business account. Shit, shop on my TikTok shop. Order some reading, something. Help me get out this bitch.
Girl, I don't see how y'all getting stuck up there. I had to call a family member, babe. You know what I'm saying? In another state or something. Hey, we need to, I need to shack up. I'm sorry. I don't mean to sound bummy, but I'm scared. I got to get out of I got to get up out of here.
Gotta go away from here.
I grew up in the Appalachian Mountains, and one of my first jobs was working as a tour guide in a cave. Sometimes I would be down in the bottom of the cave on boat duty, which is something you rotate doing, and the power would go out. I'd be down there completely in the dark in the bottom of this cave in the Appalachian Mountains. And if you don't know anything about the Appalachian Mountains, it's some of the oldest mountains on Earth. There are tons of cryptid stories, tons of missing person stories, especially around the cave systems. So you would hear things in the dark in this cave that are not explainable. I heard a lot of those things, and the only time you have light down there, if the lights go out, is with your flashlight. And there's a certain time on this tour where they actually turn the lights out, so that way you get to experience complete and total darkness. If you've never been in a cave before, when there's no manufactured light. It is like an unexplainable darkness. You can have your eyes wide open and you can't see your hand in the front of your face. So if you're down there on boat duty, often you're by yourself and you're down there for hours at a time with nobody coming down there, and there's no kind of music, there's no Wi-Fi, nothing like, not back when I worked there. We didn't have an iPhone to look at things on or play games on. There's no contact with the outside world. If the lights go out and you're by yourself and you don't have access to your flashlight, you better not move, because you could fall in the water. And worse, there's sections in this cave that are not open to the public, that are in areas that are not safe to be excavated and opened. And years ago, I had a family member that actually went in this cave after hours and discovered caverns inside the cave that are bigger than any that are open to the public. And he discovered bones down there, bones of saber-toothed tigers and of people. And what makes this even worse...
Really? Of saber-toothed tigers? Oh my gosh, that's so cool. That's something my oldest would be interested in. He loved learning about all the little prehistoric little animals, all that type of sciencey stuff, like all that stuff.
Is this area in the Appalachian Mountains is part of the Cherokee Indians. There's a room in this cave called the Indian Council Chamber, and there are burial grounds in the valley all over the place. And it's such a spiritual place, but it's also a place full of unexplainable things and cryptids. And now as an adult looking back, like, sitting in the bottom of that cave by myself when the lights would go out, how did I do that? Like, I wouldn't be doing that now. You're not going to get me in a cave by myself at any point ever again. Back then, I guess I was young and stupid, and
I don't know though, because I would think, like, I feel like you're scarier when you're younger. I don't know. Yeah, I've just always been a little scary thing. I'm gonna be honest. Ain't no way.
Really lucky that I was able to make it to adulthood and made it out of that. I know a lot of people who have worked in that cave and heard unexplainable things. I would hear footsteps, I would hear whispers, I would hear what sounded like something swimming through the water. The only thing in that water are trout. Lake trout. There's nothing big in there, nothing big enough to be making water move around like somebody's swimming through it. So I don't know what it was. I never would go investigate, because if you've seen a scary movie, when you investigate those things, you're the person who doesn't make it home that night. Right. And being in the Appalachian Mountains, if you hear something, don't investigate. Like, just let it happen. Don't ever go walking towards it.
Okay, so I'm going to do a little story time for everybody, because I was asked what the creepiest thing that happened to me on the AT was at night, but nobody asked what the creepiest thing that happened on the AT to me during the day was, and that's actually the creepiest thing that happened to me overall. My sister and I were hitching out of Stratton, Maine. We had just finished a 0 day. We stayed at Mountain View Campground in pretty much a glorified shed with 2 bunk beds. We were hitching right outside of Mountain View, and we got a hitch pretty easily, probably after like 5 minutes with our thumbs out, because we had recognized this couple in their Subaru who we had saw the day before on trail, who was a married couple, and they were sectioning the AT. They actually had a little corgi named Dylan, which we thought was hilarious, and they stopped. They gave us a ride back to trail because they were also about to start the same section that we were. So we pull into the parking lot of the trailhead, and no one else is around. There's just this one lonely guy that's standing there, and he is wearing long pants, he's wearing a long sleeve, he has a snow hat on, he has one of those buffs, but actually I think it was like a black bandana that was over pretty much his entire face except for his eyes, and on his eyes he was wearing a ski mask. He didn't have a pack or anything. This wasn't another thru hiker who maybe was just nervous about COVID or something. He had nothing. He had one of those like huge tote buckets that had a rope tied to it. He had a trash bag inside. It looked like he was carrying a lot of supplies. We thought it was super strange, but the husband that hitched us back to the trailhead made contact with him, just kind of said, hey, how's it going? Like, how's your day? Just to kind of feel out if this person was a safe character, because it's not like the parking lot was huge and he was far away from us. We were pretty close in proximity. He kind of just said, which way is the way to Canada? Immediately, I felt like he was trying to flee the country for whatever reason, probably not a good one. We pretty much just said that we were hiking the AT and we're heading north. There's only one trail that goes to Maine. We're not really sure how you would get to Canada. He pretty much just didn't really interact with us much more. He just wanted to know which way to go, it sounded like. Once we picked the trail back up, we didn't see him at all. He wasn't behind us, or I don't even think he left the parking lot when we hopped back on trail. So we headed a little bit more north, and there's a part of the AT where you need to cross the Kennebec River, which it's about 400 feet from land to land, very swift, strong flowing river. So the ATC set up a park ranger that comes and helps you cross the river safely, just to avoid any harm, because it can be a pretty dangerous crossing. So we get there, the guy is very nice. He is pretty much just asking us about our trip. You know, how did you guys find out about the AT? Whose idea was it to hike? Your sisters, all that's super cool. And then kind of just asked us a little bit more about our experience as being women on the trail, and if there were any times where we felt unsafe or uncomfortable. And honestly, there were no times up until Maine that I felt this way after seeing that guy in the parking lot. But I think my sister had mentioned it to the park ranger, and then the park ranger said, oh, I bet that it was Edward Baker, I think his name was, who apparently had just been arrested in West Forks.
This is actually the article that I found online. Man subdued after aiming loaded gun at local boxer at West Forks store. They responded to a disturbance early Wednesday to find Edward Baker, 28, had been restrained on the ground by 3 people, including Brandon Berry, a local boxer who has risen to fame in that sport. Here's a picture of him, definitely recognizable from the same guy that we saw in the parking lot. So he was arrested that morning on charges of criminal threatening. So super creepy.
He was obviously fleeing the situation because we were in Stratton. That happened in West Forks, and it was just crazy because he probably still had that gun on him, and who knows what his intentions would have been at that point. So I tried to trust all of humanity, but there are a few sketchballs out there, and it's just kind of crazy to think.
You can't do that. You can't do that. You can't even raise your kids like that. Trust all of humanity. Are we living in the real world? No. Don't put nothing past nobody. You never know what somebody capable of. For real. Even the closest people to you, if we being real. That be the and a lot of times it be the closest people to people that will hurt them. You know what I'm saying too? Like, so, because hell, really they can't hurt you unless they close to you. Whether that's in proximity or relationship wise or whatever. So like all this trusting in humanity, no. If y'all watched the last video we did about the Appalachian Mountains, that was on our Strange Story Day, if I'm not mistaken. And now we doing this one on our like little scary day, right? We listen to these little scary stories. It seemed like it's more to do with some people talk about some paranormal experiences too in this one. But I'm seeing a lot of reoccurring things too. It seems like it's a lot of people run into a lot of creepy, very much still alive humans.
Think about what could have happened, and thank goodness that it didn't.
Well, Davister, you heard correct. I grew up in the Appalachia for the first 21 years of my life, and it's Appalachia Mountains, not Appalachia. If you're from there, you know, don't fight me on this. And also, if you're from Appalachia, you know the rules. You shut your curtains at night, you lock your doors, you lock your windows, you never go out in the woods alone. You use a buddy system, and if you think you heard something, no you didn't. There's one particular time growing up, I did not follow these rules, and what happened to me still bothers me to this day. I used to ride horses, and me and my friends would go trail riding a lot. This particular day, it was just me and one other friend. We went out into the woods around sunset, and this was a pretty big property with lots of like trees. There were some open field streams, things like that. And we knew the trail pretty well. So this particular day, I don't know what got into us, but we decided we were going to play a game of hide and seek on horseback. I told her that I would hide first, so I went up the trail a little ways and then cut off over this like stream back into this more remote area of the woods. There was this old rundown cabin that I decided to hide behind, and my horse was very docile, like very gentle. Nothing ever spooked him, but as I was hiding there, he became extremely restless. This again was not at all in my horse's nature, so I started to feel like really uneasy, like what is going on. I decided I was just going to take him back down to the trail and just go try to find my friend so that we could get back to the barn. My horse would not budge, refused to go back down that trail. I finally got off my horse because I was like, well, maybe if I just lead him, he'll follow me back down. And this is the part that still terrifies me, but at that moment, everything got really, really quiet, including my horse. And I heard my friend say, "Hey, Sydney." I was like, oh my God, thank God she's found me. I'm like, "Hey girl, I'm over here." But I couldn't see her. Like, I was like, "Where are you? Hello?" And then I started to hear psst, psst. And then again, "Sydney, this way." At this point, y'all, I am in tears. I get back on my horse and sprint back to the barn. By the time I get back to the barn, it's almost dark out, and I see that my friend's horse is in the stall. I'm like, what the heck? Why did she come back and just leave me out there in the woods? I mean, this whole incident was maybe about 30 minutes, so I don't know why she would have just left. I find her in the tack room, and she was like, "You were out there for like an hour and a half." It was like, "I couldn't find you. I didn't know where you were, so I just came back." I look at the clock and she was absolutely right. It had been almost 2 hours that I was out there, and it felt like it was only like 20 minutes. I told her what happened to me. We were both just so terrified, like trying in our brains to figure out what that could have been. And to this day, I still have no idea. So yes, the stories you hear of the Appalachian Mountains are so true. If you have any encounters with this or any experience, or you have any stories to share about the Appalachian Mountains, leave it in the comments because I would love to know your experience.
My family lives near the Appalachian.
So now people also losing track of time up there too. That's crazy.
Trail, and I've lived near the Appalachian Trail for nearly my entire life in 2 different states, actually 3 different states, 3 different states. I've lived almost really close to the Appalachian Trail, and people are always talking about how beautiful the trail is itself, like how tranquil it is and whatever. And my husband, who moved from Brazil, had never been there before, so we naturally decided to go camping there one time. I don't know if you're like familiar with Appalachia or anything, but once you step into those woods, like you can feel a significant change in the atmosphere. Like the energy just gets way more heavy, and it's just weird. It feels off. You know,
I know she ain't rolling up. I know she ain't rolling up.
That feeling in your gut when you just like know something's off. That's kind of how I was feeling the entire time that we were on
I don't do it. I don't participate, but I know what it looked like, obviously. Like she rolling up.
Trail, but my husband was having a grand old time, and so I just pushed on. I was like, you know, he's having a great time. He's never been out in these types of woods before. We're just gonna keep going. Whatever, we hiked on, and then we finally found our little camping spot. And when we did set up our camping spot, that's when I noticed that the sounds in the forest had stopped. And if you know anything about the woods, that is not a good sign. We set up our camping spot anyways. I kind of glanced over at my husband to see if he was picking up on what the energy was around the woods, and he totally was too, but he didn't say anything about it, and we just kind of pressed on. Surprisingly though, we were able to fall asleep in our tent. Like the beginning of the night was fine, other than the uneasy feeling that we both kind of had. But I want to say it was around midnight when we started to hear the sounds of footsteps outside of our tent. And if you are like an avid camper, you know that like footsteps outside of your tent is like usually just an animal. However, you can always tell when it's an animal walking on 4 legs versus 2. If you know what I mean? So when we heard the footsteps, we froze and we listened, and we were like, yo, this is not the sound of an animal. Like, we could hear like kind of this low guttural growling that didn't sound like a bear. It didn't sound like any kind of animal that we've ever heard of before. Kind of like it wasn't a human, but it also wasn't quite animal. If that makes any sense. Does that make sense? I don't know what to tell you. It just
Lord, so they out there with a werewolf. Okay.
sounded wrong. So my husband, being the big bad Brazilian that he is, he unzipped the tent and stuck his head out. Whatever he saw had him so damn shook that he muckled onto my arm so hard, and he said, "Don't move. Don't move." He was like, don't look, don't look, don't look, don't move, don't look. And of course I looked. And what I saw has absolutely deterred me from going camping on the Appalachian Trail since. It was like this tall, pale, kind of like too thin to be a man type figure. Its arms were really gangly, like they were too long for its body. Mind you, I couldn't see it very clearly, okay, so I'm just like kind of telling you what the outline of what I saw looked like. I could tell that its head was kind of cocked to the side, like something does when it's kind of studying you, you know, like an animal or like something curious. It's like, and although I couldn't see its figure completely, I did see its glowing, creepy looking eyes. They looked like the glowing eyes of an animal off in the woods, but you know, they were like up too high to be an animal. It looked like a person, but somebody who was too tall to be a person, but they were standing like a man. Does that make sense to you? I don't really know how to explain it, but my mind knows what it looks like. We stayed locked in place, barely breathing, clutching on to each other, shaking. My chest felt like it was going to explode from holding everything in, like the anticipation was absolutely crazy. Was this thing going to run at our tent? What was this thing going to do? Every instinct in my body told me to scream and run away, but both of those things in Appalachia are an absolute no-no. Those types of creatures love a good chase. Number one rule in Appalachia is if you've seen something, no you didn't. If you've heard something, no the fuck you didn't. And if you ever see something, you're supposed to just back away slowly. Not pay attention. I didn't see anything. I'm just gonna go back to my car. But anyway, after what seemed like forever, this thing finally stopped staring into our souls, dropped on all fours, and then skittered into the woods as fast as it could. When I say fast, like it was like there and then it wasn't. Like, yeah, we didn't go investigate, obviously. We hunkered down in our tent and we didn't move or sleep for the rest of the night. And as soon as the sky turned even the lightest bit of gray, we sprung into action and tore up our whole entire campsite and left as soon as we could. I've heard so many other stories of creepy things happening to people on the Appalachian Trail. So honestly, it just kind of seems like a thing that happens when you go there, which makes sense. I mean, those are the oldest mountains in America. They have a lot of history, a lot of creatures that we refuse to acknowledge. So if you ever decide to go to Appalachia, do not forget the rules of the woods.
Oh my gosh, we made it. We made it. I need to go to bed. I'm scared. Yep. I need to go get ready for bed. That's it. Oh, hold on. Wait a minute. Because it said right here. Because I did look it up at some point during the video. So yeah, it says that most of the trail is in the forest or wildlands, but some parts traverse towns, roads, and farms from south to north. It passes through Georgia, North Carolina, Tennessee, Virginia, which I did not realize like it was the Smoky Mountains was like considered to be because we've been there. Like we went there. I've been there like for family vacations as a kid. And I've been there for my honeymoon as well too, and we want to go there again one day with the kids. But yeah, because it's really nice up there. I would have never thought. I didn't even know. Virginia, West Virginia, Maryland, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, that's where it say that the Appalachian Trail, you know, it passes through all these states. But that's it, y'all. I don't know. Y'all let me know if y'all think all these stories are true or if you think all of these stories are fake or maybe you just think a little bit are true or a little bit are fake. I know I gave a couple of other ones that I already I need to go get ready for bed. I need to go get ready for bed. I know I already gave y'all a couple of the ones I already think are like fake, but I need to go ahead and get off of here, y'all. Y'all have a good night and technically a good day because it is super early in the morning right now. Don't forget is what I post Monday through Friday, although not always technically, but y'all know how we do over here. And for specific uploads, just check that in the description below. Sometimes I put it in the comment section. If I don't put it in the comment section, it is always in the description section, y'all. All right, y'all. Bye. Let me get off of here. I'm a little